And this is the climax of the 5-race series, with this race having double points. We've visited the Czech Republic, Poland, Slovenia, and then France. And now we're here in Spain. 250 athletes from over 35 countries are battling it out for the 2022 World Cup title. So it's women's and men's semi-final time, with the top athletes racing in reverse order of the heats, with a 25-gate course set by our course designers Irati Goikachea and Andre Voice, standing in the way, of course, those 25 gates of a place in the 10-boat final. We've had storms overnight, but we're hoping the weather is settling down now, ready for racing. Here we have it, 25 gates, 6 of them upstream, they're the red and white gates, the rest are the downstream gates, the green and white gates. Fast and clean is the name of the game. So we're up first with the women's kayak semi-final, then the men's kayak semi-final, and then later on today, 12 o'clock Central European time, we will be back with the finals, where we'll determine who gets crowned the World Cup champions of 2022. So I'm Andy Maddock, and alongside me, Tokyo Olympian from the Mexican team. Welcome to Sofia Reynoso.
Thank you so much.
So here's our start list. The fastest 30 qualifiers in the heats, race in reverse order. And some big names are racing in here. And of course, the big news of the World Cup season so far has been Jessica Fox of Australia. 4 wins from 4 races. Can she make it a clean sweep?
Yeah, we'll see that. I'm super excited to watch that. It's been amazing to see her win every race. So I think if she can manage to win this one, it's going to be history for sure.
And of course, we have a big lineup. There's a few names that are wanting to spoil that party, though. Of course, the Olympic champion, world champion, Ricarda Funk of Germany. But it was Fox that was fastest in the heats as we get underway in this single-run semi-final with Barbara Valikova of the Czech Republic. So, Sofia, just talk us through this course a little bit. 25 gates. Where do you think the biggest challenges are for the athletes?
Well, I think we're going to start seeing that in a little bit. It's definitely a very technical course, that said. A lot of classic moves from like this course. This course is super specific. And you need to keep your bow down the whole time, pushing downstream, because the water moves slow, so you really need to put effort into moving that boat forward to keep that glide going on. It seems like she's lost a little bit of her pose. She was a bit late on some of those offsets. We'll see if she can keep going on this run.
And here, this double upstream gate 13 and 14, quite a lot of time in here, isn't it, on the first of the big drops here?
Yeah, definitely. That's a hard two ups, because then also the exit from the second up, it's really far out and it looks easy, but that water there is super boiling and it's easy not to make it all the way there. So I think we're gonna have some fun watching this section. So
then into the flatter section here, around at the upstream gate 20, little S gate. That's going to be well, there's going to be a lot of risk taking, isn't there, to find a time? Yeah,
I think so too.
And then down on the bottom drop, again, a technical move, as you suggest here, the down 22 into the upstream gate 23 on Niagara, as it's always been nicknamed. And even the bottom is not easy.
No, not easy for sure. That spin, it's quite hard to do. It's in a section where the water is not stable at all, and you have to make it all the way to the up and manage to get out in a long exit as well.
So Barbara Valikova stops the clock, 1:15.70. That includes 6 seconds of penalties. And well, I think we'll get an indication, not too long, I think, what the sort of time is, but I think that's a little bit distant from what you'd expect to make it through into the top 10 and into the final.
Yeah.
So Ajda Novak now for Slovenia on the top part of the course through the sticky fingers section. Now coming round the corner, this is where an opportunity to open up a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. You gotta kind of sprint there. You can gain some time or lose some time, so it's important to keep that glide going. And these offsets also are pretty hard. You need to manage to stay on top of the water and keep your bow dry through the whole thing. And then this is the exit that I'm talking about, where you need to do a long exit, which is quite hard. As we can see, both of the girls have had a bit of a hard time. It's a really, really hard move.
Yeah, now coming down, at least she's keeping it clean, and now approaching the second split, we'll get an indication, and look at that, nearly 8 seconds up. Now this is a tricky move, this S move, the upstream gate 20, very smoothly done.
Yeah, very smoothly. Also, you lose all your speed when you're on the right side of the rock, so you gotta keep the glide going on your boat to not lose much time there. I think it's easy to lose many seconds.
And more time being made up at the bottom. That was really good through 22 and 23. So Ajda Novak of Slovenia now surely going to set quite a big time for everyone else to chase. 27th at the World Championships. She's only made one final so far in the 4 World Cups, but that's a good start. 102.56. It's a clean run, and Ajda Novak leads the way for Slovenia. Now Naomi Fox of Australia. Well, you give her a technical course, and this is where she could fly.
Definitely, I agree. This is a very classic move, this S move at the beginning, starting left, going right. Very classic move from Seo.
And there's almost not too many moves you could do on the first part of the course.
Yeah, I guess they're all classic. I guess this course has been here for way too long.
And how it stood the test of time pretty well, given it's 30 years old.
Yeah, definitely. And it's a course that the more you know it, the more you understand how the water is moving, the more time you can gain, and you can learn these very technical moves that are super specific, and you can just repeat them over and over once you know them. So it's a course that if you know it, you definitely have an advantage.
Well, I'll have to say, Naomi Fox looking very smooth and in control. She was in touch in the top split, a little bit down on Novak of Slovenia, but she really looks like she's enjoying this run.
Yeah, very nice cross there from the upstream.
Oh, a penalty there on gate 16. We see she doesn't quite get back in time, and that's confirmed there on the screen. So still, though, she's showing her pace because she's absorbed some of that penalty. Now, this upstream gate 20, this S move, it's about controlling the boat speed, isn't it? You can go in a little bit fast and just run out of space.
Yeah, exactly. You need to make sure you are very pre-turn and you're keeping that glide. Otherwise, you can get stuck, like trying to exit or get a penalty very easily.
Well, this is a great run coming together for Naomi Fox. It's going to be outside the current lead time. She's got another penalty there, but crosses the line, 103.88. And, well, it gives her a chance of making it through into the final. Best result so far in this World Cup season, only 20th place. So that could be a personal best for the season. And now Martina Wegman of the Netherlands. Olympic finalist, she's a World Championship finalist. Hasn't had the best of seasons in the World Cup. Actually, her best result, 20th place in the second World Cup of the season in Krakow. What can she do here as she goes into this upstream gate 6?
Very nice offsets here.
There you get to see that mist. It's been raining heavily here for the last 3 hours or so. The sun is coming out, but that mist is really just starting to clear, and hopefully we're going to have a sunny day later on.
She looks like she's having a very good run. She's very composed. She's an athlete that's always with the body forward, and I think in this course that really helps. She's looking super solid. We'll see this cross over here. I think this is definitely some of the crux of the run, this long exit here.
So now it's got to go out far enough from the exit of 14 to set up this move. That's where Naomi Fox previously didn't quite get out enough and had to take a touch on gate 16. No problems there for Wegman of the Netherlands as she goes up on the second split. So can she challenge that race lead time? Well, she's got to deliver the bottom section, and we know Novak was very good on particularly this move coming up, 22 to 23. Spin on the fast water, and then you've got to get tight into 23.
Yes. The rev's a little bit low, but she still managed to find that fast-moving water on the outside. I don't think she lost any time there. Very nice run.
So 102.56 is the time to beat, and it's just outside. 102.67. Martina Wegman for the Netherlands goes into second place, and she can see just how tight it is. It's a good run,
yeah, very good run. I think she lost a little bit of time at the end there on that S-move, but it's a very solid run.
Of course, now Yahuwah Yan for the People's Republic of China sets off. She's competed in all of the World Cups this season. Best result so far, 22nd place. So it would be a personal best for the season if she makes it through into the final. Really tight on gate 6,
yeah.
but a penalty already at the top of the course. That sticky fingers section between the exit of gate 6, 7 and 8. It's really hard, isn't it, to predict as you go over that drop, just which way the boat's going to kick.
Yeah, you need to make sure that your bow stays on top of the water. If not, you definitely don't know where you're going to end up. You want to keep that control.
So into the upstream gate 13, and well, it's useful, but she doesn't seem to quite have the flow and the rhythm that we've seen from our race leader, Ajda Novak of Slovenia. Now this is the difficult bit. Can she get back for 16? Oh, well, not at the moment. I think she's going to have to go back for that gate.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think, some of the crocs, that long exit is easy to either drift to one or the other side of the course. So it's important to keep that blade on the water and keep the boat, keep your gaze looking at the gate.
So it's interesting, isn't it, that Yahuwah Yan was in touch at the top split, but now 12 seconds down on that second split so easily. If you lose the run of the boat and pick up a couple of penalties, then it can all just slip away.
Exactly. Slalom is definitely a sport where you can just lose time so easily by one tiny little mistake and your run is a bit over.
So sprinting to the finish, and it's good to see the finish here is a lot shorter than it used to be.
Yeah, that's definitely nice for us athletes. Not such a long sprint after a hard course.
Well, the finish at Pau last weekend in France looked brutal. It was probably a good 10 or 11 seconds after the last gate, and pretty flat water, and it certainly caused some problems there as we watch our next paddler, Alina Hodgsova of Slovenia, just on a little bit of a plan B at the top of the course, but that has resulted in a 50-second penalty on gate 5. I think that was just, did she get her whole head into the gate line?
Exactly.
That's what the judges will be determining, and on this occasion, then she's obviously asked a question. It's fast. You can see she is faster than her race leader compatriot, Ajda Novak, but you've got to be clean as well.
Yeah, 50-second penalty is impossible to come back from, but she's always a very, very composed paddler. She has a very, to me, a very clean style. She's always in the middle of the gates, like super classic, and she always manages to pull down some really, really fast runs. It's cool to watch her paddle as well, and so young.
She's still fast, she's still the fastest down the course, but that 50-second penalty is being reviewed, so it's not all over yet. But penalty just picked up on gate 20 for the young Slovenian. 2 finals, the last 2 races in Tarsen and then Pau. So 5th and 7th place. And at the moment, lying 10th in the overall World Cup standings. But more problems at 24. She's really going to have to work hard to get back for 25. And she's shown the pace, but she hasn't managed to link it all together today. That 50-second penalty has been reviewed. It still stands. And unfortunately, there for Alina Hodgsova, it's 6th place and no place in the final. Emily Apple there for Germany sets off on her semi-final run here at the World Cup in Lascaux. Really popular venue. What makes the venue so popular?
Well, I think it's the Olympic venue, and also it's such a cool town. It's right in the middle of town. You can just walk from the bakery or from wherever you're staying to the course. And the white water is very, very specific, and it's still a very challenging course for everybody, I think. So I think it has a little bit of everything, this course. It has the atmosphere, it has the white water, and it has the people. So it's cool to be able to race in courses like this.
Yeah, and if you've never been here, then I suggest a visit, because not only, as you say, it is such a nice course on a park, really, the Olympic Park, right next to the town, but also the scenery. I mean, in the foothills of the Pyrenees, we've got the Caddy Mountains, and there's just all sorts of different things to do, particularly if you're into the outdoor lifestyle. Well, another problem there on gate 16. Nat Pearl is going to take some pounding today, I think.
Yeah, she was a bit too tight on that first downstream, and that made her be a bit late for the second one, which then she gained a penalty.
So Emily's coming in really as fourth boat for the German team, so she hasn't done all the World Cup races, but she has had a good season. Bronze at the Under-23 European Championships in Český Budějovice in the Czech Republic just a few weeks ago. And this great experience, and for the younger sister of Elena Lilik, who is still to race in this competition, in this semi-final.
Yes.
So crosses the line, 109.77. She'll be a bit disappointed with that, but mainly because of the penalties.
Yeah, the penalties definitely add up.
So now Natalia Pacierpnik of Poland sets off. She won a medal last weekend in Pau. She was silver there, and that was her first final of this World Cup season. She is a World Cup medalist in previous seasons. In fact, last season she started off the campaign with a medal as well in Prague. But already a little bit low in her touch on gate 5.
Yeah, all the other girls made it look pretty easy, but it's a hard move. You need to catch that first wave and surf it across to be able to arrive to that upstream, high on the upstream. She lost a little bit the wave. That's why she arrived so low.
And that top section is just really fast, isn't it?
Yeah.
You get offline and really it just doesn't give you any time to correct it.
No, going downstream.
So Natalia was 33rd at the World Championships. And, well, she'll be wanting to finish the season on a high as she then starts to focus on next year, 2023. And of course, it's Olympic qualification year, so it's a big year. Oh, she's missed. She has missed gate 15 and taken the touch on 16. That's confirmed there by the judges, and there'll be no progression into the final. So the medalist from last weekend will have to settle for going out in the semi-final at this stage. Double points up for grabs in this World Cup final, so you can really move up or down the order depending on your result here. So that was an interesting peel out there. It wasn't a plan A on 22, but it looked quite quick.
Yeah, I think she did that in order to arrive higher to the upstream. It's called a boogie, when you kind of go around the gate as if it was an upstream.
So it is into 8th place. Natalia Pacierpnik of Poland. That mistake in the middle of the course is going to be costly, but here is a name to watch, lying second in the standings overall after 4 races. It is Tereza Fiserova of the Czech Republic. She's already a World Cup champion in the women's canoe event. You'll be able to follow that live tomorrow. This is her first season in the senior team in kayak, and she has made her mark.
Yeah, very nicely done through these offsets into the up. She surfed the wave super nice. Arrived really nice to that upstream, kept that speed going downstream. Really nice on these offsets as well. She is looking very, very composed.
She had a disappointing World Championship. She finished 29th in the semi-final, but look at that. She's up on the split, and she's looking like she's really found the groove here.
Yeah, she's looking like she's going really wide on the lines, and that's making her boat glide really well. She's looking very fast.
Yeah, you've got to get the weight onto the front of the boat as you come into gate 14 to grip that eddy, and good exit.
Oy.
Oh, but she's done it tight on 16. We didn't get the best of views of that, but so far no penalties showing on there. And Fiserova surely is going to take, yeah, she does. She continues to take the advantage.
Very nice move there.
So we're looking at the virtual race leader. Who's going to be the first to go under 100 seconds here? Well, it could be Fiserova. Now, that gate 16 is being reviewed by the judges, and we didn't have a very good look at it, but she certainly was very, very calm, really under pressure.
Definitely, she's looking super composed. She knows what she's doing.
And she is into the race lead, 1:01.00, and subject to the outcome of that review on gate 16, Tereza Fiserova keeps her hopes alive of taking the World Cup here. It's a bit of an outside chance because it relies probably on Jessica Fox, having won 4 from 4, missing out on the final, but never say never.
Never, yeah.
So, Tereza Fiserova leads ahead of Ajda Novak and then Martina Wegman. We still have 21 boats to go as we now watch Elena Lilik of Germany flying on the top of the course.
Yes, very fast. She did this move. She lost a little bit of her balance there, but she managed to...
She almost started an extra gate in that section, just got a bit offline, but she's recovered. She took the World Championship silver medalist, well, medal last year, bronze medal this year. And, well, other than the fact her season got interrupted in the middle with the German team pulling out of the second World Cup because of COVID, then she would have been very much in the mix for the World Cup.
Yeah, I agree. She's a very strong contender. She can definitely race and handle the pressure we've seen. So.
She started the season with a silver medal in Prague. And yeah, since then, not really got the World Cup campaign going. Oh, and it's had a 50-second penalty. Well, it's hard to tell. We don't really get a perspective on how far down the course is. It's a 2-second penalty, but certainly now a 50-second penalty given on gate 20. We didn't really, we were looking at gate 18 then, weren't we?
She didn't go up of it. She did the S and didn't exit through the gate. She just went outside of it.
Well, we'll wait and see what the review says on there, but Elena Lilik of Germany is coming to the finish line. It's a quick time. Look at that, the first time under 100 seconds, but it is penalty problems there and provisionally only into 7th place. You can see the disappointment on her face for the 2-time World Championship medalist in the last 2 seasons, and that's a big surprise if she doesn't progress to the final.
Yeah, definitely. That will be a shame. She looked very good on the course, but a 50 is a 50. That's the game.
Yeah, it could be harsh, a cruel sport, but that's what makes it so exciting as well.
Exactly.
Now on course, it is Antonie Galuskova of the Czech Republic. Only 2 World Cups, but 2 finals from those 2 World Cups. So very consistent. Will she make it 3 from 3? Well, she certainly set off well on the top of the course. She's the under-23 European champion of 2022. Finished 9th at the under-23 World Championship. So that's where her focus has been, really, preparing for those races in Italy and the Czech Republic, but showing that she can contest on the senior stage as well.
Yeah, for sure. She definitely is a strong figure. She's looking super good, super composed. The boat has been gliding and on top of the water.
Oh, rejected in the gate line of 13. She went in tight, she gave it the edge, but well, maybe a little bit too much edge. Will have cost her on the clock, but no penalties added. So 1.83 down on the top split, but there's a penalty. And another athlete not getting that set up. The exit of 14 so critical to keeping it clean on 16. And a 50-second penalty given on gate 16.
She pushed a little bit the poles maybe to manage to go in.
Good point, Sophia. Yeah, great to have an athlete insight on that. Yes, it's the deliberate displacement maybe on that. If you push the pole out of the way for your benefit, then that is a 50-second penalty. So, disappointment for... Oh, and another missed on the bottom part of the course. It's all gone wrong. Gate 24, 50-second penalty there. Great line. You can see the lines at the bottom here with the overhead camera, and disappointment there for the under-23 European champion of 2022. Now for Slovakia, Susanna Pankova sets off. She was the fastest in the heats last weekend in Po. She really showed her pace. She didn't quite manage to deliver it when it mattered, but she's still a junior and can be deadly fast.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's where experience matters a little bit, but she's still shown how good of an athlete she is and how strong she can be. So I think if she pulls down a good fast run here, she could be a strong contender for the final.
She finished 11th last weekend in that semi-final, so just outside. And look at that, she's up. by over a second on the top part of the course. Now into this critical section, double upstream 13 and 14. And particularly, let's watch the exit of 14. So important to come out a little bit wider, and you've got to be pointing back this way at the camera as you go through 15. Beautifully done.
Yeah, very nice. She's looking really composed, really solid. You can see in her eyes, she knows exactly what she's doing and she's following her plan.
So now towards gate 20. Oh, unfortunate there on the sweep. She picks up a penalty. The bows of the boat flick up. But, well, 20 has given her a 2-second penalty, but the advantage was 2 seconds. So she's still in touch with certainly a place in the top 3. Oh.
Yeah, that gate is hard. If you're too tight on it, the water is kind of not moving, so it's hard to exit, and it's easy to make a 50, and it's hard to exit the gate for the next one. So she pulled it out. She pulled it really nicely.
Well, into 3rd place for Susanna Pankova. Just a 2-second penalty on the upstream gate 20, and well, that lies her into that 3rd place position. Novak leading for Slovenia, Wegman in 2nd for the Netherlands, and Pankova in 3rd for Slovakia as we get towards the halfway point in this women's kayak semi-final here, live from La Salle in Spain. And on course now, Monica Doria Villarubla of Andorra, just up the road, and this very much her training site.
Yeah, this is her home. You can see how well she knows the course, even though she's always a very composed, good paddler. The insight she has in the course, I think it's definitely a plus for this race, and I hope that we can see her on the final.
She's an under-23 World Championship bronze medalist in this event, so she's got the pace, and she'll have a good bit of local support, particularly later on in the final, but she's got to get to the final first. Top 10 go through, and look at that.
Nice cross, yeah, she clearly knows how to do that move.
She makes the water help her, and wow. So important, isn't it, to work in harmony with the white water, and you can see if you get the lines, then you get the help.
I think that was very nicely done, how she was able to do 15-16 in the middle of the gate, no problem, kept the glide going.
So at the moment she's still up on the 2nd split, and at the moment no penalty, or just a penalty showing on gate 4, which is being reviewed, a 2-second penalty at the top of the course. Now just a couple of gates to go through gate 24, now gate 25. She's cleanly through that, and is she going to stop the clock in the race lead? She is indeed. 1.77 the advantage, and well, that is a popular result. Surely that's going to be enough to make it through into the final. And I should say, we've missed, as we've gone down, Tereza Fiserova, who went into the race lead, was given a 50-second penalty, and that's quite significant in terms of the overall World Cup standing. So it was gate 16. We did see it. We were. She certainly asked a question of the judges, and that means really she was the main contender challenging Jessica Fox for the title. So she's effectively going to have to sit and watch and see where that leaves her in the World Cup overall standings.
Yeah, so sad.
So Kimberley Woods for Great Britain on course now, and coming down this course. Of course, she hasn't made that much progress in the World Cup season so far. No finals, which is unusual for Kimberley.
Yeah.
But she has delivered when it mattered, which was the World Championship. She finished 9th in the final, 10th in the Tokyo Games, and a World Championship bronze medalist last season. So it is all about trying to deliver it and just rescue a little bit. And if you could do that, another problem on 15. Can she get back for 16? Well, she does, but she takes the touch.
Yeah, that was tight. She was a bit short on that exit, turned a little bit before, and those boils just grab you if you turn before. You really want to be in the middle of the gate and not try to cut the line there.
Well, she still has the advantage at that 2nd split, so it's still on for a place in the final. Now she's just got to deliver this move. 23 and the last 2 gates. Very nice from there. Now she'll work hard through 24 it's not all over. It's swirling and fast down the bottom, and that's where the fatigue sets in. But Kimberley Woods for Great Britain goes into the race lead. And, well, we'll have to wait and see, but that's surely good enough for a place in the final. You can see the relief.
Yeah.
Now, up to now, her best performance, which is unusual for her this season, 16th in the World Cup. But as I say, she has delivered at the critical times at the World Championships. Next, it is Austria's Karina Kuhnle, the two-time world champion on course. She was 22nd in Augsburg, and only one final for her this season, and that was 7th in Tarsen at the World Cup in Slovenia.
She's looking very strong.
Yeah, Karina, her consistency has been lacking a little bit over the last couple of seasons. She's a great competitor, and when she gets it right, very, very fast. Two-time world champion, but I think the last time she won the world title was 2011, maybe?
Yeah, I think she's a very strong paddler, but sometimes has been missing that consistency at the finals, the final point stage. She's a bit low on that upstream. Doesn't lose too much time. I think we'll see now if she can pull it off for this move.
Another touch on gate 16. You can see it's there's going to be a lot of head scratching, I think, and a lot of plans changing perhaps between this, the semi-final, and the final later on. But people have got to get there first. And as we've already seen, we've got some big names out. Elena Lilik, her penalties stand. Tereza Fiserova of the Czech Republic, lying second in the overall standings, is out of the final.
Yes, we've seen actually quite a bit of 50s and quite a bit of touches in this course. Almost no one is clean, so definitely shows how hard the course is and how challenging it is to be tight and clean at the same time.
So Karina Kuhnle goes into 7th place for Austria. So we've still got 15 boats to go. So that's going to be a nervous wait, and I suspect it's not going to be good news for the Austrian. I suspect she'll fall the wrong side of the line in terms of that qualification through into the final. So here we have the first of our Spanish athletes. We can expect some fast times here. Laia Sorribes sets off. Really emerging under-23 talent in this sport.
Yes, she's looking very good. She definitely has that inside of the course. She's always so fast here. So I think if she can control the moves and keep her boat on top of the water, especially in this section, I think she can be very, very fast.
Well, she's lost a bit of time at the top. She's not got any penalties. 3 seconds down on current race leader Woods of Great Britain. Now this though, some of these technical moves, this is where you can be really strong. We saw Monica Doria Villarubla showing us how to do it, and Laia has done that.
Looks like she knows too, yeah.
But she's late. She's picked up 15, a penalty. At least she doesn't add another one on 16.
Yeah.
So she's on the back foot a little bit. And one thing we know about racing here in Laseo is generally it can be so tight. The margins between qualification and not qualification can be really down to the tenths of a second.
Definitely very, very small.
So through the bottom drop, a little bit again, sticky on the spin. Just a little hesitant. She's good now. She's going to attack the bottom part of the course. But the clock is still ticking. 100.08 is the race lead time. She's outside of that. And she's really got to stop the clock under, well, 104.02 and into 8th place. And you can see the disappointment there. She knows there's still 13 boats to go. And sadly, I don't think we're going to see Laia in the final.
I think she knows where she lost the time, and that's hard.
Of course, now for Algeria, Carole Bouzidi. She sets off, European champion from 2012. Used to race for France, now representing Algeria.
Yeah, she arrived the day before on Thursday at like 1 a.m. in Seoul and didn't get any practice until she got the semi-final run and just flew through the course and made semis. So I think it's cool to watch that and cool to know that just like experience and knowing the course and how strong of a paddler she is to be able to pull that.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Laseo is one of those courses where you can't just turn up if you've never been here before and expect to do well. Oh, but she's low into 13. She never really got in touch on above the drop.
Yeah, her bow was a little bit on the water, a little bit late, and that just means you lose the glide of the boat.
So penalties adding up now for Carole Bouzidi of Algeria now, and well, 8 seconds in penalties showing. In fact, a review on gate 12 going on, and look at that, 17 seconds down. Disappointment there for Carole Bouzidi. She's not going to progress into the final. As now she comes down over the Niagara drop, which, well, it looks like a 50-second penalty on 22 there.
Definitely, that was, I think, half the head, which means you pick up a penalty. She was a bit low, she didn't go far enough into the gate.
So your whole head has to go between the poles and at the same time a part of your boat, and the video judges will have a number of different angles to be able to determine that and review the penalty to make sure the correct penalty is awarded. But disappointment there for our paddler from Algeria, as we watch Viktoria Wolffhardt now for Austria, the 2017 under-23 European champion. She's been going absolutely in the right direction in her season. She started off in 22nd place in World Cup 1, then 14th, then 13th, and then 6th last weekend. So surely she's on a trajectory towards the podium here.
Definitely. A bit late there with that turn, but still no penalties. Well, we have a review. She is looking solid. The part where you really want to make sure you're on top of that water and you're pushing that glide to arrive to the 13th upstream well. Very nice cross there, and now we have this hard move. Oh, she's a bit stuck in the hole.
Oh, and it's a 50. That's unfortunate there, so she gets a bit offline, tight again out of 14. And she knocks the pole out of... Well, maybe that's my angle, the angle there. I thought she'd missed 15.
Yeah, it looked a little bit like that, but I'm not sure. I think she might have been able to put her head in it with a bit of the boat. So I think she managed not to just to get a touch.
Well, that recirculation has cost her dearly on the clock. Look at that, 16.6 seconds down, and still to deliver the bottom drop. So Wolffhardt of Austria is in big trouble here, and it looks like that progression towards the podium as she's made through the World Cup season is going to end here in Laseu. She'll be racing in the canoe events tomorrow though, and we'll be able to follow them live here at Planet Canoe, 9 o'clock Central European time, the semi-final start. So disappointment there, and only 11th place. So out of the final for Wolffhardt of Austria, as we watch Eva Tercelj of Slovenia, the world champion on this course from 2019. Surely we would expect Eva to make it through into the final.
Yes.
She had a really tough season last season. She had a disappointing Olympic Games and World Championship defence, but this year she's come right back. She was 8th at the World Championships in Augsburg, and she's made 2 finals, 8th place and a 5th place in the last 2 of the World Cups. So she's pulled herself back into contention, still lying 9th in the overall standing, so would need a good double points finish today to move up the order, but anything's possible. We've already seen Tereza Fiserova out of the final and has left the door open for others.
Definitely, I think she can do it. She's probably got really good memories on this course, and as I said before, it's a course that if you know, it can definitely help you, and I think we see that, specifically in this move.
So that deficit from the top, we don't really want that to grow anymore. And look at that, she's closed it down. She's tightening the screw and she's attacking the race leader. Kimberley Woods for Great Britain ahead of Monica Doria Villarubla for Andorra. Ajda Novak of Slovenia, that's the top 3 at the moment. And they are under threat from the world champion of 2019. Eva Tercelj, but it's all going a bit wrong at the bottom. She's got to refocus now.
Yes, she leaned a little bit back and she lost the stern of the boat.
Now she sprints to the finish. She's dropped time, but how much time? Into 5th place. So, well, it's going to be a nervous wait, but she will be in the mix for a place in the final.
Yeah, definitely. So easy to lose time down at the bottom, in that upstream there.
So here's a name to watch. Camille Prigent for France sets off 4th at the World Championships and lying 11th in the overall standings. But that's more to the point that she's focused a little bit in the middle part of the season on the World Championships, because she started off very well indeed with a bronze medal and a 6th in the first 2 World Cups.
Yeah, very strong.
So let's watch as she comes through. Sticky fingers, as they call it. That's a pretty good line through there.
Oh, yeah.
Now you've got to get on the power, spot the line, and then just be getting ahead of the game, running the boat through this offset sequence before you go into the double upstream gate 13 and 14. Now, this is where the time is won and lost. It's interesting, still down on that split time at the top.
Yeah, she's looking really fast though. Very composed, she's high on these upstreams.
Beautifully done, and she
Nice
looks like she's got the
exit.
exit, yes.
Yeah,
Oh, nicely done.
very nicely done, yeah.
So Camille Prigent, we'd expect to have closed that gap when she comes down, and she has. She's turned it into an advantage now as she comes into gate 20 beautifully through
Wow,
the S.
yeah. She's having a very good run. This last section is tricky, but I think if she keeps this body position and her boat guiding this way, I think she can keep the speed going.
Well, the pole is swinging on 22, but I think that might have been a water splash, and we'll see. Now, 2 gates to go, and surely she's going to be challenging the race lead time. 100.08, can she go under 100 seconds? She is going to do that. And yes, 99.51, Camille Prigent, France. Well, into the race lead, and surely into the final. So there is still an asterisk against her name on gate 16. They're just checking that gate. It was tight, but I didn't see any big alarm bells, but I don't have all the good angles on that gate. So Prigent now leads ahead of Woods and Doria Villaruba. They're the top 3 with 10 to go. So we now start to confirm who will qualify into the final. On course now, Lena Teunissen of the Netherlands.
Yeah, she was a bit low, but didn't lose much speed there. She still crossed that wave nicely. She's looking good, composed, really nice here, offsets, keeping the speed. Her bow moving downstream. We can see she's definitely attacking the course. She has managed to stay on top of the water.
That's nice now.
Very nice, yeah.
Now she's a little bit low into 13, but this is the critical section. It's not just into 14. She's done that nicely. It's this
nice,
exit from 14. And by the way, Camille Prigent, no change to her score. Still the race leader. The review is complete on 16. And she is the race leader ahead of Kimberley Woods and Monica Doria Villaruba. So still in touch. Teunissen of the Netherlands, 1.5 seconds down. Well, that would put her around about 4th and in the mix for a place in the final. She's yet to make a place in the World Cup finals this year.
Yeah, but she is looking strong in this run. Looks like she's clean till now. There is a review, but we'll see. She's wide here. Oh, very nice.
Through the last gate. Now, just digging deep to stop the clock. Then will go into 4th place, so she's given herself a really strong chance for a place in the final. Great performance there. Lena Teunissen of the Netherlands now, 102.54 is now confirmed. Camille Prigent of France will be in the final. And here, another French athlete now, Emma Vuitton, sets off to see whether they can make it. Another French boat into the final here, just over the Pyrenees. And is that a penalty? It is, on just the slightest of touches on the side of the buoyancy aid. And another one on 5. It's all of a sudden.
Drops low. Very low on that upstream, but looks like that touch kind of got her out of her mind a little bit, but it looks like she's pulling it back together over here.
Yeah, so easy, isn't it? One little mistake and it's so fast at the top that it just mounts up, and before you really have a chance to just settle yourself and calm yourself down. Look at that, 5.5 seconds. That's a big task now for Emma to make up.
Yeah, she's a very, very composed paddler though. She's always in the middle, always pushing that boat. But yeah, one touch here, it can cost a lot of time. The girls are just so tight in the times. We'll see if it's enough.
Emma's like 13th place in the overall World Cup standing. She's had 2 finals, 2 10th places, and she's been very strong. She was the Under-23 World Championship silver medalist this season, and did the same last season as well. So clearly a name to watch as she ducks and dives through gate 20.
Nice, yeah.
And it's the damage at the top that is what's causing the problems, because since then she's been very smooth.
Yeah, very nice run. I don't know if that's a touch.
Looked like the bow on 22, flicked up under the pole. If you hit the pole with any part of your body, your boat or your paddle, then it is a 2-second penalty added to the time, and another one on 25. So it is not going to be a final today. Emma Vuitton of France into 12th place, 111.93, and those penalties are the problem. So now we have 8 to go, and Claudia Zwolinska of Poland sets off. World Championship finalist in Augsburg, 6th. She finished there. Very much a contender here. She had a 4th place on a home water in Krakow, Poland. She is a World Cup winner from 2021 as well, but yeah, she is looking very smooth.
Yeah, that was a very nice spin. She dropped the stern down and stopped the boat and just surfed the wave across. It looked very nice. That's a hard move.
Well, we'll see whether that contributes to a competitive split time very shortly. It's Camille Prigent of France leading the way ahead of Kimberley Woods. Those two are qualified into the final, and she's up by nearly 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, that was really fast, that top section. She did it really nice. Oh.
Disappointing there. Super fast, super tight line, but that is the risk you take on that move with the bow of the boat.
Yeah, you need to really control that bow. It's easy to...
Look at that, she's really composed.
Very nice.
She knew she wasn't quite in the right position. She was just patient on 15 to 16, and that was definitely rewarded. So she's still in touch, so point too far, but is that a 50-second penalty?
Yeah.
She has gone back for it. She didn't get a whole head round the gate, so that cancels out the 50-second penalty, but suddenly she was right in touch, and she's going to be outside the final.
Shame. Yeah. She was looking very good. Just a bit too tight on that exit, and it's so easy to make a 50 on those stern moves. You really need to make sure you're still on that gate.
Well, it is a reflection, isn't it? You can just see how good these athletes are, because when you do get offline or whatever, you can see the power of the water and just how it pushes you offline, and most of the athletes just make it look so easy.
Exactly, yeah. Sad when they show, but definitely shows a little bit like the difficulty of the sport.
So next up for the Ukraine, it is Viktoriia Us. Now she is well and truly in the contention for a top 3 in the overall World Cup, lying 3rd at the moment. So the job on this run is to make sure she gets into the final and gets some big double points. But a penalty already.
There. But she's still very in the middle of the gates. She's looking very composed, very fast. So I think if she keeps it going, it could maybe still be inside the final.
She's already had 2 finals in the World Cup Series. Race 2, she was 7th, and race 3, she took the bronze medal in Tartan. So she's lying 3rd in the standings. The World Cup really a good indicator of consistency. All of the races count for the points, so there's no margin for sort of discarding one of your poor race results. You've got to stand to the whole season. Again, goes for the patient move, but a penalty on 15, that will add to problems. But she is still in the mix. She was...
Definitely, we see that Kimberley and Monica are in the final with a penalty, so maybe it's still okay for Vicky to have a penalty, but now she has two.
So effectively at the moment it is Lena Teunissen of Netherlands sitting waiting to see if she's done enough on the bubble, and Viktoriia Us of Ukraine. So the time to beat for Viktoria for automatic qualification is 1:02.54. She might well be inside that. But not if you hit the last gate, Viktoria. Then that makes it hard, and suddenly, 12th place. So she, as third in the overall standings, out of the final, and that has left it wide open for others to come in.
That is super sad.
And it wasn't the pace today, it was the penalties.
Yeah, that sucks. She definitely showed how strong of a paddler she is, but those penalties just add up so quick.
Well, on course now, the Olympic champion from Rio 2016, the three-time Olympic medalist Maialen Chourraut of Spain, and you could expect some big performance here on her home course. She's not raced too much this season, but when she has, she's been blisteringly quick. She came fifth at the World Championships, and we hadn't really seen anything of her this season.
No, I think she was recovering from shoulder surgery, and it's amazing what she can do. She showed it in Augsburg, what experience can take you and how strong she is. So I think in her home course, she definitely can glide that boat really fast.
So she has only done two main races, the World Championships where she was fifth, and then last weekend in Pau she made the final, finished ninth there, and at the moment not the best middle section, but importantly she's keeping it clean. Yeah,
very clean, and I still think the boat was moving pretty fast, even though she went for that safer move with the back ferry.
She stabilised it. She's nearly 2 seconds up on the race lead time. Remember, the job is just get through into the final, and it's double points up for grabs, so critical, and particularly the top three positions, those double points really will make the difference. And we've already seen, whilst Jessica Fox is still to come, second and third in the standings, neither of them will be in the final, so there's the opportunity to grab and get into that top three.
Yeah.
Race leader, Maialen Chourraut of Spain, well done. You are in the final.
Wow.
Well, good to see the sun coming out here as well. Perfect timing, really. The storm disappeared about 10 minutes before we got racing. And as ever, the sun comes out here in the Pyrenees, and we have a good day. Well, very much promising as we get towards the final. You can follow that live at 12 o'clock Central European time, but let's keep here with this women's kayak semi-final live from La Seu in the northern Spanish Pyrenees as we watch on course. It is Romane Prigent of France, 11th at the World Championships, and again another paddler who's focused on under 23 tasks, but one final at the second World Cup of the season, but a 50-second penalty awarded on gate 8.
It looked like she might have not had the boat in the gate to me a little bit. It looked like she was a bit too tight and put her edge down to be in the gate, but I think that didn't work out.
So that'll be disappointment there for Romane, because Romane lying at 12th place in the standings of the World Cup after 4 races, and again just asking the question on 15 and 16. Definitely a 2-second penalty picked up. You may see the judges review that gate as well, so it's not happening, but that will mean that Ajda Novak, the early race leader for Slovenia, will come into the final. And another penalty down at the bottom of the course, but
definitely lost since the beginning. She's been a bit playing with those edges a little bit, not I think how she would like it to be. Looked like she lost a little bit her balance.
And it looks like she missed 24, so it's all gone wrong. She was 4th at the Under-23 Worlds this year, 5th at the Under-23 Euros, so she's a strong performer. But on the day, it's not to be today. Into 26th place for Prigent of France. And at the moment, we have 6 confirmed qualifiers. Chourraut of Spain, Prigent of France, Woods of Great Britain, Tereza Fiserova of Andorra, Teunissen of the Netherlands, and Novak of Slovenia. So 4 to go, and Stefanie Horn, the European champion, of 2022 is on course for Italy.
Yeah, she's picked up a penalty, but she's still looking tight on the gates. She's looking strong, but penalty is a penalty. Oh, she lost a little bit her bow there, but keeps it together nicely through this offset.
Now, Stefanie Horn's a good example of one of the athletes who could absolutely capitalise on Tereza Fiserova and Viktoriia Us going out of the final here, because she's lying in 7th place in the standings. She's got 2 finals to her name in the World Cup, and a good result here will move her right up the order.
Yeah, that's exciting. I think she is having a good run. We have seen finals with penalties in this course, so I think if she very nicely through this move, very fast.
She made that look easy, didn't she? And,
in the middle of the gate and direct, really good.
So she was 4th in Tokyo last season, and she's very much the big occasion paddler. Always there or thereabouts, and well, the job now to get into the top 10. She's absolutely on track. She might be down a little bit, but she is on track for a place in the final, and through that tricky move, 22-23. So just 2 gates to go, and she is surely going to join the others into the final. Oh, over the line, 98.19. She found time at the bottom and into 2nd place. Well done, Stefanie. You'll be in the final, and well, there's a name to watch. I think she could now challenge for a top 3 position in the overall standings, as could Mallory Franklin at the moment for Great Britain as well. She's lying 4th in the standings.
Oh, wow.
And with Fiserova and Us out of the final, then this is her opportunity, but she's got to deliver it. She's got to get into the final.
Yes.
And here she goes, the World Championship silver medalist from 2018. She didn't have a great weekend last weekend by her standards, but still there or thereabouts for Franklin. She was 2nd here last year, so that was an indicator that she can paddle fast on this course.
Yeah, she is strong. She's looking really good in this top section. She looks like very, very composed, very solid. On top of the water as of now, keeping that glide. We'll see this tricky section over here with the 2 upstreams and the offset.
She's had 2 finals so far, 4th at race 1, a 2nd in race 3, and that's giving her overall the 4th place position in those standings. And as I say, with Fiserova and Us out of the final, then the opportunity is there for her to come right back into the contention. Whether she can challenge Jessica Fox, who has 4 wins from 4 races, then well, that will depend on Jessica Fox. It's down to her to lose it. But Franklin has closed the gap, 1.5 down now, and certainly in touch with a place in the final.
For sure, and looking super clean. A little bit low, but keeps the boat moving.
Pivots round 24, just got to go through 25 and sneaks round there. Surely she's going to be in the final, and this is a good time into 4th place and into the final. So Mallory Franklin of Great Britain has put herself right in the mix for a top 3 position overall in those World Cup standings with 2 boats to go. So on course now, the world and Olympic champion, Ricarda Funk of Germany. Again, well, she hasn't had the consistent run through. She got COVID on roundabout World Cup 2.
Yes.
So she had a great start to the season with a 7th place, but then her season just deteriorated from a World Cup perspective, and her focus went on recovering from COVID, defending her world title, which she did very well in Augsburg, and now she was 4th last weekend in Po. So at the moment lying 15th in the standings, but she will move up the order, I'm sure. Whether she can challenge for a top 3 place, I think that's probably a little bit too much to ask.
Yeah, with that, a penalty, still a review. It could have looked like a water touch, I'm not sure, so we will wait for the judges. Oh, it's confirmed.
Look at that.
Oh, wow.
Through the 15, she's taken the penalty, but now can't afford to let those penalties rack up anymore, because there's only 2 boats to finish yet, and well, that's her and Jessica Fox, who is unbeaten in this women's kayak event at World Cup level this season. So let's watch Funk come down the drop, comfortably through. She's still in touch despite the 4 seconds of penalties.
And the spin she had to do on number 14, which I definitely don't think was part of the plan.
So for automatic qualification, under 1:02 is the time. She's going to be comfortably inside that, into third place for the Olympic and world champion. Ricarda Funk of Germany is in the final. So 1 boat to go, and this is the reigning World Cup champion of 2021. She is unbeaten in the World Cup this season. 4 wins from 4 races. Can she do the clean sweep? Well, the job now is to get into the final. Jessica Fox of Australia goes down this Laseo course. She'll have good memories of this course, but a little bit offline. She did well to recover that.
She lost her edge there a little bit, but manages to.
But she did pick up a penalty on the upstream gate 6, so she just needs to settle herself. She's not had the best start, but she's very experienced, and that's one of the skills that really comes in. We saw her in Po last weekend in the, I think it was the canoe event, wasn't it, where she made a massive mistake, but she kept it calm, and she still ended up on the podium. Albeit, up till that point, it was an outstanding run that would have really set the world on fire in terms of how it compared to, say, the kayak times.
Looks like she ends up going for that safer move. She didn't think she could make it direct and just went for that back ferry over there.
But it looked a quick back ferry, but 5 seconds down. So at the moment, let's have a look. That is still on track for a place in the final. So it's Martina Wegman of the Netherlands on 1:02.67, which is 5.26 down. So no space for any penalties for Fox. And this could be a nervous few seconds here. Jessica Fox of Australia has to get in the final. And if she does, she will be the World Cup champion. And she has made some time up on the bottom. And well done, Jessica. You are in the final. And, well, we are surely looking at the World Cup champion of the women's kayak here for 2022. She defends her title because I think with 4 wins from the 4 races, she is now unbeatable, particularly with Tereza Fiserova and Viktoriia Us of Ukraine going out. We're just seeing that another penalty is being put in on, look at that, gate 7. The slightest of touches on the shoulder, and Jessica Fox is out of the final.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That is crazy. I was a little bit like rereading the names because I saw Martina Wegman qualified.
Wow, well, good spot there. So, Martina Wegman of the Netherlands gets in. Well done, Martina. And the big news here is the top 3 in the World Cup standings after the first 4 races are out.
Yes, quite wild.
Well, I'm just trying to work that out in my head. I think Jessica Fox is still pretty comfortable to win the overall World Cup title because of the fact that 2nd and 3rd place have gone out as well.
Yes, that's true.
But she is going to have to sit and watch that final.
That's super crazy after 4 golds. I think that should be a bit of a bummer. I'm really sorry for her, but really excited as well for Martina to be in another final.
So here are the 10 qualifiers for the World Cup final here in Laseo. The women's final will get underway 12 o'clock Central European time. And, well, here we have it. Jessica Fox, Eva Tercelj missing out. Another world champion, Karina Kuhnle, missing out. And then you've got the likes of Tereza Fiserova, Viktoriia Us, who are lying in the standings.
Big names outside.
So, don't go away because we'll be back with the men's kayak semi-finals in literally just a few moments' time. And, well, big news here from Laseo. Jessica Fox is out of the final. a semi-final we have seen here in La Seu, and still digesting it. And of course, we'll be watching to see who can take the top 3 places in the overall World Cup standings. Can anyone eclipse Jessica Fox of Australia? She has left it open because she missed the final. But now, thank you to Sophia Reynoso. She has left the booth, and I'm pleased to welcome to the booth Callum Gilbert, Tokyo Olympian for the New Zealand team, alongside me as we get into the men's kayak semi-final. 40 boats and only 10 places in the final. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's going to be another tough shootout here today, I think. A few upsets, and a lot on the line with the overall World Cup standings, so it's going to be interesting.
Well, it certainly is, and here is the lineup. Reverse order of the performance in the heats. So the fastest in the heats will go off last, and we've got some big names in this competition, as you say. And at the moment, the leader is Yuri Priskovic, who there goes off last. He was the fastest in the heats. He is leading the overall World Cup standings by well, about 25 points, ahead of Martin Duguid of Switzerland, who has had some great performances, particularly at the start and the finish of the World Cup. And then reigning champion Vit Prindis, the likes of Peter Kauser, Andre Tunka. Those are the top 5 in the World Cup standings. But the job now is to get through into the final, because that's where the double points will really help your cause.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I guess time to get underway here. Tough course, so it's going to be interesting to see how these men get through those moves.
Well, we're underway with Martin Halsin of Slovakia. Gets us underway in this 40-boat men's kayak semi-final. And yeah, this course, one thing's for sure, as we've just seen, you can expect some tight racing and very little margin for penalties.
Yeah, certainly. There's a lot of quite fiddly tight moves that mean you have to be right in the good position, and it's really easy to just slip off, pick up a wee penalty like we saw Martin do at the top there. But he's holding it together well and getting into a good rhythm here through the first corner. Yeah,
so that penalty just on gate 3. The slightest of touches, it doesn't matter how hard you hit the pole, then it is a 2-second penalty as he motors down now towards this double upstream 13 and 14. And in particular, let's see how the men's kayak deal with this exit of 14 and keeping it clean 15, 16.
Yeah, it's quite a big use of the feature there, coming into the upstream on the right before crossing the hole to the left and then back out again, and unfortunately just getting off on that stick, and you can see him running into the poles.
Yeah, 2 touches, 15 and 16 is absolutely the last thing that he needed.
Oh no.
And it's interesting, this gate 20, it's a high risk move, isn't it? If you go at it with speed and commit to it, then you either get glory or it's all over.
Absolutely, with those both those sort of S or chicane moves, you can see there's a lot of time in being super straight and fast through them, but like you say, it comes with a bit of risk. And just a bit more trouble here now at the bottom as well for Martin, so certainly not the run that he was looking for, I think.
And it's interesting, isn't it? So you're in the semi-final, you wanted to get in the final, you've effectively got to be prepared to lose in order to get in, haven't you? You've got to absolutely throw caution to the wind. There's no point getting to the bottom thinking, that was a bit cautious.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, although with these tough courses that we're experiencing at the moment, I think a little bit of it is getting through, staying on the nice line, staying clean, and then you're in with a good shot. Good point.
So that's the tactics that come into it as we watch now. Our second paddler, Liman Huang of the People's Republic of China, setting off nicely through the upstream gate 2. You get the first few gates on the course really flowing on this top fast section, and it really helps you build into the run, doesn't it?
It certainly does, and he's done a beautiful job there on that spin. You can see just holding the boat on the wave nicely, and that's pushed him into the up really well.
Now the sticky fingers, as they call it, just between gate 6 and gate 7 has really created a whole variety of different lines as people react to whichever way the water kicks you.
Yeah, that's really hard to get dry over that wee section, but we can see he's going well here. Nice through the top part. Good second on the split, although it is early days, and into this tricky double up section. Oh, big touch there. I'm not sure where that swung. I think we're going to have to let the judges decide that one.
Well, he's been given a 50-second penalty. I think you're right, Callum, that unfortunately hit it so hard that it wasn't there at the critical time. But they're reviewing that, and they'll see whether that's going to stand. But it's been removed. So that's good. They've obviously got a good angle on it. That's a pretty tidy S, but it's still, there's no doubt about it, it's a 2-second penalty.
Yeah, that's right. And it's coming to the last drop now. Good jump. This is really tricky to try and get out in the eddy, do the turn and get out across to the other side as fast as possible, especially at the bottom after a tricky course. You know, the arms are burning. So he's doing well to hold it together here and push to the finish.
So Liman Huang of the People's Republic of China stops the clock in, well, I mean, he has got a 50-second penalty. 91 is the time, but unfortunately, that 50-second penalty does stand on the upstream gate 13. And yeah, the course that has been set by Irati Goikijaya and Andre Voice is certainly technically challenging and going to require a bit of a tactical element today.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. Next up, Ben Pope of Australia. Really good to see him in the semi-final. He wasn't super happy with his first run yesterday, but a nice second run got him through. Actually heading home after this to get married, I believe, so certainly a lot on his mind, but he'll be wanting to put that aside and starting this run off nicely.
Well, his best position so far this season in the World Cup, 15th place. That was in the second World Cup of the season in Krakow. And he was 38th in the World Championships in Augsburg, Germany. What a great World Championships that was. And unusually in the middle of the season, we'd normally be coming into the World Championships at this time of year.
Yeah, it's certainly been a bit of a strange season with the events all thrown around, and yeah, we'll see with a bit more normality perhaps next year. So Ben, nice on the punt there on the second up of the two, and just getting a bit caught on the exit, but tight through that gate and back on his run.
Well, I think the middle section is going to keep the judges busy today, just checking the different angles, and well, understandably, he is up by a big margin because he has yet to pick up many penalties, but he just takes a touch on gate 20.
You can see, like you were saying before, about just trying to take that line a bit straight, and you can quite quickly get caught up on the pole. Nicely round 23. It's quite shallow in there. I think we saw his tail just clip the bottom, so that'll slow you down a little bit, but he's working hard to the finish, and now we've got a decent benchmark time, I think.
There we have it. 90.44 is the time to beat. In the early stages of this men's kayak semi-final here, it's the World Cup final of 2022. And we're live here at Planet Canoe from La Seu in the Spanish Pyrenees. And well, the sun has come out after a night of big storms. Perfect timing, really.
Yeah, certainly is. A little bit more water in the river. You can see the colour actually a little bit brown, so yeah, try and keep it out of your mouth.
On course now, Johnny Dixon for Great Britain. He's a two-time under-23 World Championship medalist, including taking a bronze medal this year, silver medal last year. It's only his second World Cup.
Oh, getting it pretty exciting on the spin there, the boat getting quite vertical, but he's gone through nice tight lines, as we often see these British lads take.
Finished 23rd in Po last weekend, and well, he's an exciting talent. He can really go fast. And how can he tame the rapids here on the River Segre? Well, he's up on Pope of Australia.
That's a really nice top section through there, and he's still holding it together nicely through the middle. Into the tricky double up, beautiful sweep on the first one. Using the wave really nicely to flick him in, maintaining the speed. Really, he's done that well.
And he's come out nice and wide. Can he hold it together through that tricky 15-16? He makes that look easy. And I'm sure we're going to see lots of penalties across this men's semi-final on those two gates. And he's got the advantage. It's been trimmed a little bit, but this is where Pope picked up a penalty, and so too does Dixon of Great Britain.
I must have just nicked it there, Eva. I almost didn't see it. Oh, getting a bit stuck there on the spin. It's in a really tricky part of the eddy there, but oh no, coming a bit low. Fortunately, the eddy's really strong and there's a lot of water to use to get round, but just looks like the fatigue might be setting in now.
Yeah, so through 24, now through 25. Just the one penalty on the upstream gate 20, the slightest of touches, and into second place, 92.18. And, well, a credible performance there, but we still have some very fast boats to come in this men's kayak semi-final.
That's it, and notably the men's kayak semi-final with 40 boats just has that 10 extra boats. You think you're almost at the end, but it's quite hard to get in that final 10.
So now Lucas Rossi of Argentina, 28-year-old Olympian, now coming down the course on this top section. And that gate 2, just, it must be a real feel-good feeling when you nail it.
Yeah, that's beautiful, nice and smooth, straight through. You can feel the boat, or you can see the boat speed just continue all the way through, so really nicely done.
So unfortunately, just a penalty on gate 5. Easily done with your top blade. You just lose a bit of concentration on the spin. And the 2-second penalty is showing.
It's looking nice and composed though, keeping it together and staying calm, so you can see not just almost a second down on the split. A little bit stuck through there, but coming nicely into this double up section in the middle.
Oh, look at that, just the slightest of touches on the way in, touches it on the way out. It doesn't matter how many times you touch it, it's still a 2-second penalty. And I think the learning seems to be going on, doesn't it? There was the women's kayaks, so many people hit gate 15 and 16, but I think a lot of the men's kayaks would have been watching that semi-final and just adjusting the plan a little bit to make sure they keep it clean, just as he does nicely through gate 20.
Yeah, you can see, I think, just taking the slightly more conservative line to get the bow up through that second S-gate, which helped him to stay clean. Oh, trouble on the cross there, really caught on the edge. And when you're not in the eddy nicely, it's really hard with that strong current. You've got to go all the way around back.
Yeah, just got stuck with that edge down, and that eddy's just so strong, isn't it? You can't fight when the water's pushing so hard on the edge. And it's going to be outside the 100 seconds for Lucas Rossi of Argentina into 3rd place. So still Benjamin Pope leading the early stages for Australia, 90.44. But I would speculate that certainly to win this semi-final, not necessarily to make it into the final, I reckon 81, 82.
Yeah, I mean, tough call. I'm not sure I can put a time on there yet.
Oh, you stood on the fence there.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
All you have to do is say, well, maybe 83. You'll probably be there. But let's see as we watch next up. Ondrej Tunka of the Czech Republic, world champion of 2017. And he is a contender in the overall World Cup standings, lying in 5th place at the moment. So still some work to do to get into the top 3, but as we've seen in the women's kayak semi-finals, it could all change if you miss the final.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, certainly he'll be looking for a place in this final today. Really nice on the top, 1 second up, which is good to see. Nice and comfortable through the first of the double up there. And nice, really, you can see maintaining the speed, looking for the nice solid exit. A lot of space on those 2 gates, and he's gone through nice and clean.
Beautifully done. And looking like he's going to extend that advantage as he comes down towards the tricky S move. Well, he hasn't. He's still in touch, but he will extend it if he goes clean through 20, because that's where Benjamin Pope of Australia, the current race leader, picked up a 2-second penalty.
He's done a beautiful job there, just given himself enough space, but caught on the spin nicely across. And like you said before, that eddy is so strong, so being a little bit low isn't too much of a problem.
So now he just has to keep his focus. The last 2 gates, so easy to take a late touch, but no problems there. It's a clean run for Ondrej Tunka, and into the race lead, 88.07 for the Czech Republic. Well, I thought he might be a bit quicker than that, so maybe my 81.82 is a bit ambitious, but let's wait and see. We still have some very good boats to go.
That's right. I think, in fact, you might have been a bit ambitious on that one, but I guess we'll have to wait and see, won't we?
So it is Ondrej Tunka leading for the Czech Republic, who is, well, the first of our top 5 contenders in the overall World Cup standings down this course. Now on course, it is Zeno Ivaldi of Italy who gets his semi-final run underway. The sun is now starting to come out. It's going to be a hot day, I think, later on today here in the Spanish Pyrenees.
Very early on the spin there, opting to spin almost before the rock, but it's worked out really well for him, taking a nice short line into the upstream. Beautifully nice and dry down through sticky fingers. A little bit caught there, but not too bad at all.
So now this is the opportunity, one of the few opportunities to really open up, isn't it, on the course. Get that physical element going, but then it's back to just timing the strokes, guiding the boat through the water, and in particular, spotting the line into this upstream 13.
That's right, nicely in there for the sweep. Beautiful line off the wave into the second up and straight in and out there. Or getting a bit caught and having to get the touch just to get through the gate there, but it's going to be costly.
He was in such good position and he did everything right, but the bows just didn't come round.
Yeah, that's it.
And, well, 2 touches now showing, and another one on 20. So suddenly, in this men's kayak competition, we know it's going to be tight for places in the top 10. And there's just no way back into the final from having, well, he's got a 50-second penalty on gate 15. And those other touches, it's all gone wrong here. Another penalty on the final upstream 23.
I think the judges must have looked at that gate 15 and deemed him to have intentionally moved it so that he could have gone through. So really unfortunate there, but just wasn't his day today.
Disappointing there for Zeno Ivaldi of Italy, who finishes his season here at the semi-final stage of the competition. Here is Darius Popiela of Poland, one of the older paddlers on the start line, but never one you want to rule out. He's a finalist at World Championship, Olympic Games, World Cup, European Championships. In fact, he's a European champion, and he always gives his all to every run. He leaves nothing on the river.
He certainly does. Very physical paddler. Nice control there early again on the spin, and I think that just allows you to be nice and tight into that gate 6. So he's done a good job looking to get dry through this sticky fingers section. Under 7, back under 8, and then just like you said, you can sit up, open up a little bit through this sort of flat water section.
So his best result in the World Cup season this season is 19th. He is a medalist on a number of occasions in the World Cup, but this season he's not yet made a final. But well, double points final is the best time to do it.
Absolutely, it certainly keeps it interesting. Really nice there through the double up. You can see shot in and out of that second upstream. Oh, just taking out that pole. Be interesting to see again where that one swung.
Well, it looks like a 2-second penalty at the moment, and the judges, I think, will be reviewing those gates for pretty much all of the athletes, just to check the different camera angles, because even if you do it nicely, you are going to be cutting the lines as much as you can.
Yeah, I think you're right on that one, so they'll be fixing their eye on that. Really nice through the spin here, and just a fraction high, but I think he managed to get his head in and around the upstream there. A couple of gates to go, and he'll be looking to sprint to the finish. But
he did pick up a penalty on that upstream. He was so tight that Popiela is going quick. Look at that. 91.62 is the time, and that includes those penalties. So he's showing that there is a quicker time. 87.62 is the fastest raw time, but it is all about delivery, penalties, and your time. And still, Ondrej Tunka leads for the Czech Republic ahead of Benjamin Pope of Australia. And Darius Popiela has to settle for third. Still just waiting for the outcome of that review, but provisionally into third place as we now watch Marcelo Bader of Italy, the World Championship silver medalist from last year in Bratislava, but a penalty already at the top of the course.
Yeah, just unfortunate on that escape there. He got a bit caught up. Really nice and tight through the spin. Sweeping around 6 now and launching on the exit.
And he's got a 50-second penalty on gate 5. I didn't see that, but it is a tricky little move there, and it's so easy to just duck off the pole and just leave it to the judges to decide. Another penalty there, and they're all adding up.
Yeah, that's right. It's a tough start to the run, but he'll be looking to carry on, stay in the zone, execute the plan, and see what he gets to the bottom.
Yeah, well, I think what you were saying, Callum, about the tactical element of, well, how much risk do you want to take in your run? When a few people see the early results, they may well be just reviewing how much risk they want to take. And that is the advantage of qualifying in high up in the heats, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. Yep. I mean, I think it depends a little bit on the athlete as well. A lot of people are not too interested in what's going on with the other athletes. They're looking to do their plan, and then I think you'll have others who will have a look at the race and the times and make a decision about how they're going to approach the race. Certainly, I think in the final for a lot of the top athletes, that's what they're looking to do.
So unfortunately for Marcelo Bader, he's just had the one final so far, and that was in the second World Cup of the season. That was a 6th place there, and well, lying 7th at the moment, but with that 50-second penalty, no place for a final today for the young Italian. So Tunka still leads as we approach the quarter way in this men's kayak semi-final for the Czech Republic. 88.07, time to beat.
Yeah, I think we're going to see that come down a little bit. I'm ready to make my prediction. I'm thinking 84, 85 seconds is going to be the fastest we'll see in the semi-final today.
Well, we'll see as we watch Martin Swobodnik of Slovenia on the top of the course, who's had a pretty solid season so far. Certainly made a final.
Really nice spin there. You can see his boat stayed on the wave the whole time, and he had a really nice line into the upstream. I think that might be one of the best we've seen so far.
And he's really early on the power as well through that gate 7 and 8.
He looks like he's paddling with a lot of intention, very focused. Boat's moving really well, and you can see just up on the split, so that's a great start for the man.
So now into the tricky middle section. He's got to get that line into 13, let the water do the work, and beautifully done.
Really nice on 13, beautifully off the wave, keeping the boat moving, just opting to take a little bit of height through 14 so that he can open up this line through 15, 16. He's done a great job ducking off the poles.
But he does pick up a touch on gate 15, but the pace is good.
That's right, maybe not quite as good a job as I thought. Really high on 20, wiggling in and out. So it'll be interesting to see what happens on the bottom here. Can he absorb the rest of that time, of that touch?
So he's still quick, as you can see. He's absorbed some of that penalty, 1.27 down on Tunka of the Czech Republic, our early race leader. Now hauls it round towards gate 25, and still reviews going on. And Martin Swobodnik of Slovenia goes into second place, but that is a provisional second place whilst the reviews go on gate 13 and gate 15.
Yeah, he'll certainly be looking for a place in the final. Last week he had a tough 50 on the last gate of the course, I believe, after an incredibly fast run. So certainly he's got the pace.
So 10 down, 30 to go in this men's kayak semi-final. We're live from La Seu d'Urgell in the Spanish Pyrenees, and Isaac Öhrström for Sweden goes for a place in the final. So we'll see Isaac, he's leading the standings after 4 races in the extreme kayak competition. That'll be up live here tomorrow, 4:30 in the afternoon, Central European time. But equally, he is very capable of making it into the final. He made the Olympic final in Tokyo.
Yeah, really nice through the top. Just clipping a rock here and there, I think, with his paddle, but he's looking very composed and comfortable. We can see just 0.8 down on the split, so certainly nothing to be concerned about at this stage.
Well, 12th is his best performance so far this season in Krakow in Poland, and consistently making the around about 20th place at semi-final level, so really starting to improve his overall standings.
Wow, really tight through that stagger. I think once again that's going to be the judges looking at that.
I think the judges are going to have a busy day today, just in terms of the available different camera angles on that middle section. And the fine margins are such that it's worth them looking at almost everybody's run, just to make sure there's consistency in the final decisions. Beautifully done on the bottom drop there at Niagara.
Yeah, really nice spin. You can see pop straight out of the Indian across to the upstream. So certainly finishing off the run with style, but unfortunately that 50-second penalty is going to prove, or the 2 50-second penalties are going to prove costly today.
So there we have it. It's not going to be, but he will turn his attention to the extreme kayak competition, where he looks to secure his first World Cup title overall in that competition tomorrow. Penny for the thoughts there of Pedro Goncalves of Brazil, who's next to start. Pepe will get his run underway. Started off the season with a final at the first World Cup in Prague. It's been a bit of an up and down season since then, but he is fast enough. He's an Olympic finalist from Rio, finished 6th there, but already a 2-second penalty on the first upstream gate.
It's really unfortunate he just clipped the pole there, but beautifully done on that first spin, in and out of the upstream and away down Sticky Fingers.
Wow, he's leaving nothing on the river and the top section. Always absolutely giving it his all, and a really disrupted run into the World Championships with COVID. Managed to compete in the end, but it wasn't the ideal start, and it always left him on his back foot running into those championships.
Yeah, certainly not, but it looks like he's found some form again, which is fantastic. Really nice through the double up, but might have just picked up a touch. Yep, there on gate 14. Super tight, 15, 16.
2 touches now is a big ask now as he comes down towards gate 20. Let's see how much risk he takes on that. Oh, too much risk. And you could see he was always going to go for it, but he didn't get his whole head through the gate. Wisely, he goes back for it, but the damage is done. That's going to cost him, what, 7, 8 seconds?
Oh, at least I'd say, yeah. It's really tough there. You know, you're trying to keep the line as straight as possible through that S-gate, but you need to give it enough height to be able to get out without slipping below the gate. So really unfortunate for Pepe, but good to see him to go back. Obviously, that 10-second pedal back is a lot less than the 50-second penalty he would get.
Another competitor we'll see who I'm sure will be contending in the extreme kayak competition tomorrow. So disappointment for Brazil, and no place in the final for Pedro Goncalves, but we will see him back in that extreme kayak competition tomorrow. Time trials this afternoon, and yeah, the head-to-head element, well, it starts this afternoon, but certainly the televised bit is tomorrow, 4:30 Central European time. That's on course now. Yasuka Muto of Japan now gets underway.
Nicely through that first S-gate here. Let's see how he sets up the S. I think there's two lines emerging. The lower spin, which he's opted for, where you turn below the rock. Just getting a bit caught on the edge, unfortunately. And we might see some of the athletes going for the high spin above the rock. I think that's really an athlete choice.
It's really interesting, isn't it, this whitewater course, built for the 1992 Olympic Games. Looks really big water when you get close, but the water's actually quite shallow, and you know, there's not a lot of margin if you get offline, is there?
No, that's absolutely right. I mean, you can see just if you're slipping wide on 12, you might clip your tail on the wall there or on a rock, so you do have to be very careful, very aware and ready to react to anything that you might find. Like that, you can see he's just hit his tail on the wall, but not letting it bother him, although really struggling to get out to 15. I think a good option to opt for the late spin there, just to make sure he's clean and through the gates, as we've seen a lot of trouble there already in the semi-final.
Yeah, wise choice there as he comes down towards gate 20, but 6.5 seconds now down, and takes the touch on the S. And it is such a critical decision, isn't it? You've got to decide what your strategy is for that S gate, because if you're not sure, then you really set yourself up to a failure there.
That's right. I think it's really important to make sure you give it enough at the start so that you can take the speed out at the end. So unfortunately the run just falling away a little bit here, but great to see another semi-final performance.
So Muto of Japan settles for 5th place at the moment. 13 boats down in this 40-boat men's kayak semi-final here. It's the World Cup final, double points up for grabs. And already in the women's kayak, we've seen all sorts of drama. The top 3 boats all missing out on this final and leaving the door wide open for others to come in and challenge and make use of those double points.
As you can see there, Lucas going for the earlier spin where you start the boat turning before the rock. He's done a great job, executed well. Coming down sticky fingers now. Not too bad, a little bit wet, but certainly not a problem. Ducking under those couple of poles, and he'll be looking to wind up a little bit through this flat section.
Yeah, you can see he's really starting to apply that power, but he gets a little bit offline there as he runs almost into the pole and just about gets his head inside.
Yeah, certainly left it to the last minute to flick his head back. Really nice into that gate 13, sweeping around onto the wave. Just a bit stuck, leaning on his edge there, I think, but he's taken the speed through, and we'll see what he can do through this tricky 15-16 section.
Oh, yeah, takes the touch on gate 16. You could see he did the line nicely, but didn't quite get back enough. So just that 2-second penalty showing at the moment. Now he's got to get through 20 nicely. That's a good job. You could say it's conservative, but ultimately he's delivered the goods as he comes into the final section of the course.
That's right. I mean, certainly a good plan, I think, for what we've seen so far. Really nice through the spin, nicely through 23. Just 2 more gates now to go before the sprint to the finish.
Well, at the moment, there's just the 1 penalty showing, but there are reviews going on 4 gates for Lucas Ferro of Switzerland. Lying in 4th place at the moment, 91 is his raw total. And we'll just have to wait for the judges to complete those reviews and see whether there are any changes to his run time. So, still, Ondrej Tunka leading for the Czech Republic ahead of Martin Srabotnik of Slovenia and Benjamin Pope of Australia. So next up, another Australian, Timothy Anderson, will set off here for his shout at a place in the final. The final gets underway with the women's kayak at 12 o'clock Central European time today. You can follow it here live at Planet Canoe. And then the men's kayak will follow on from that. And a great start for Tim Anderson.
Yeah, I think just falling off his plan a little bit there, but he did a great job to react, keep it under control, and still executed a good spin.
The last two World Cups, he's been very close to making it into the final. 12th in Tarsen and then 15th last weekend in Po. So really would be good if he can just break that that little bit of a mental threshold, isn't it? Once you start making finals consistently, then your confidence builds.
That's right, he's found some great form this year, certainly no lack of pace, beautifully through the double up. Be looking to just make sure he's in good positions nicely through 15, ducking for 16, I think that's fine. Coming through this next stagger, so come on Tim, today's your day.
Well, let's hope so. At the moment, he is showing clean on the board. There is a review on gate 10, and he is absolutely on the limit through gate 20, and he has been given a 2-second penalty on that S-gate.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like he's picked up a touch there on 22 as well. Through the spin, through the upstream try. Last couple of gates to go, really tight. He's really ducking around these poles, sprinting to the finish.
And that time of Andre Tonka still looking very strong at the top of the leaderboard. And it all slips away at the bottom for Timothy Anderson of Australia. And you've got to keep a little bit in reserve, haven't you? He definitely left it out there on the top section. Had he left enough? Who knows?
Yeah, I guess we'll never know, but a real shame for Tim. He's certainly has had the pace all season, so would have been great to see him in the final.
Well, here on course, Felix Oschmalz of Austria, and a big surprise is he hasn't made a final in the World Cup yet this season. He was 4th at the Olympic Games, 6th at the World Championships, and he has very much promised the pace, but penalties have been his problem. But this is an opportunity to change that, go into his winter training on a bit of a high.
Yeah, that's right. It's been a long season for Felix. I was talking to him yesterday, and certainly with the Worlds in the middle, and as a under-23 athlete with the under-23 Euros and Worlds, it's a big, long season, a lot of racing. So I think he's looking forward to a holiday, but not before this performance here in Sale.
Yeah, because I mean, no finals. The rest of his season's been really good. Like you say, the World Championships at 6th place. He got a bronze medal at the European Championships, and he was a silver medalist at the under-23 World. So just hasn't quite happened for him. And it looks like it might be though here.
Yeah, really nice through that double up and 2 down section in the middle there. So holding it together well, looking composed, just half a second off.
Nicely through 20, that's the critical move, and so important to time what you're doing with the bows of the boat there, because you can go in tight, but if you haven't planned what you're doing with the bow of the boat, so easy to take a penalty there.
It certainly is, and he's really tight on 23, but nicely keeping the tail not too far under the water, so he stays off the bottom through the last 2 gates. Sprinting to the finish, it's going to be close.
Well, he has been given a 2-second penalty on gate 20, so it is just outside. It would have been enough to take the race lead, but at the moment it is 3rd place. A 2-second penalty on gate 20, just making the difference. So 87.88, the raw time, and it is still Tonka leading for the Czech Republic, Svobodnik for Slovenia in 2nd. Oschmalz there slots into 3rd for Austria. But here is a name to watch. It is, well, how do we introduce him? A legend of the sport, Peter Kauser, the oldest paddler on the start line, but still in contention for the overall World Cup title. 2-time world champion, he's an Olympic medalist, he's a European champion, he's won the World Cup, and he has won, well, he started off with a victory in Prague in the World Cup, the first World Cup of the season. Super consistent, but he did miss the final last weekend.
Yeah, that's right, and certainly no stranger to performing well on this course. He's a really smooth and controlled paddler, and I think we'll see if that's going to pay dividends today.
Lying 4th in the overall standings, so very much in the mix. The job is to get into the final, make the most of the double points. He's up on the top split, and this is where it will all count, is this move. 14, 15, 16. Wow, uses the wall well. Can he keep it clean?
Yeah, we haven't seen that punt option yet so far, but nicely through 15, 16 as well, keeping it clean.
So now he's got to head towards 20. That seems to be the risk area. He's still up on Tunka of the Czech Republic. He takes the tight line and he delivers it.
Really nicely through 20. Just the last spin move to go, really. Let's see what he's going to do here.
Over the drop. You can see how shallow it is on the drop. He doesn't quite get the line he wants, but it's not slow.
No, not too bad at all. I think he's held that together all right and got into the last up without too much problem. So the sprint to the finish just to go, and I think we might be looking at a new race leader.
Kauser stops the clock inside the race lead time and goes, well, he's not happy with that. 87.42. Peter Kauser goes into the race lead ahead of Andre Tunka and Martin Svobodnik, but he clearly doesn't look happy. He's thinking that's maybe not enough.
Yeah, I mean, I suspect that's going to be enough for the final, but I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Well, there we saw Irati Goikachea in shot there. She's one of our course designers alongside Andre Voice, who've set this fair but challenging course.
Yes, that's absolutely right.
So, straight into the next competitor, and that's Kazuya Adachi of Japan on course now. He made the world's final in Augsburg, finished 9th in that final, already making a final in previous World Cups. In fact, he's been on the podium on a couple of occasions in his career.
That's right. He's certainly no stranger to finals, and nicely through the top there. Good spin on the wave and coming up to the first split, so we can see how it's looking on the clock.
So let's just reflect on that. Kauser goes into the race lead, doesn't look happy. Do you think he's thinking it's going to go quicker?
I mean, that's a good question. I think he's probably assessing how he went on his run and saying, look, I think there's some time in there. So we'll see. We'll see if the other people can find that time still to come.
So we're getting towards the halfway mark in this men's kayak semi-final, and yeah, 87.42 is the race lead time. We still have the fastest 20-odd paddlers from the heats to go.
That's right. You can see, unfortunately, just the time slipping away from Kazuya. He's done nothing wrong, really, but just been a bit off, I think, in a couple of places, and it all adds up as you get towards the bottom. Very nice and controlled through the spin and through 23. You just got to wonder if this is a bit of, like you said at the start, is it just a fraction too controlled?
Yeah, he's going to come down in a clean run, and he stops the clock in 5th place, 89.95. Yeah, it is a solid, good run for Adachi of Japan, but I think he's saying it himself, isn't he? He's like, oh, I'm going to be the wrong side of the line.
That's right, that's right. But I mean, certainly a performance, he's not going to be disappointed with that. I think he's done well on the tough course, and it will be a good result nonetheless.
Well, that was Viktoriia Us managing to smile, having unfortunately gone out of the semi-final, not in the final, so she's left it open to see who can beat her 3rd place in the standings. But let's focus on Titouan Castries of France, because he's been a sensation of 2022.
Yeah, really incredible performer. Just getting a bit out of shape on the spin there. Boat's going quite vertical and clipped the pole, so let's see if he can maintain his composure. Bit off through sticky fingers. Really tricky to get the dry line through there, like we said before. So just looking a bit scrappy at the start. I think he'll be looking to sort of calm that down and find his usual controlled form.
So he's junior world and European champion of this season, and he made the World Championship final. What a performance there. He finished in 8th place. He's not done all the World Cups, but he has made a final. And, well, for the pressure on these young shoulders, he's been delivering.
That's right. Really nice through the double up. Oh, unfortunately, didn't set that double down up very well and cleaned out the second gate there, gate 16.
And it looks like a 50-second penalty. It looks like a deliberate displacement given on that gate. Pushed the pole round him. And now a touch on 20. And another victim of this technical tight course.
Yeah, just looked a bit off from the start, so you've got to wonder if perhaps he wasn't quite in the headspace he wanted to be, but just not his day today. Struggling again in that last upstream.
I always say when you see people struggling on the course, in some ways it's good. In some ways you get to see just how powerful the white water is and just how exceptional most of these athletes are, and then they make a mistake and you just see how they, well, how the water will push them around and take control, whereas when they're at their best, you could just see them just gliding and effortlessly working with the white water team.
That's right. One of my earlier coaches once said to me that as you get better, you just get better at dealing with the mistakes on the way and not letting them have too much of an impact. And I think you do see that on these tough courses.
So it's not to be for Kastrick of France, the junior world and European champion. As now on course, Tim Bremer of Germany sets off looking for a place in the final.
Really nice through the first S-gate, good through the spin, in and out of gate 6 upstream there, so a nice start for the German.
Yeah, he just missed the final last weekend in Pau, over the Pyrenees from here. He was 16th, and he was 5th at the under-23 European Championships just a few weeks ago. Up
on the split, but he actually cleaned out that gate 9, so all of that time is going to be evaporated now, and he'll be looking to try and pull it back a bit if he can. Opting for the high line across 13-14. We haven't seen that yet, where you skip above the bulk of the wave there. We'll see if some more effort's going to do that later. A bit caught up on the exit, but importantly clean through the 2 downs.
Yeah, but that gate 14, that touch is unfortunate for Tim Bremer. It's interesting, I was having breakfast with the German team this morning in the hotel, and interesting when you see the head coach, Klaus Poland, and the most important thing he had to take down to the course today was the coffee machine.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they've got some well-equipped team tents here at the race, that's for sure, some of those bigger teams. Oh no, just 2 more touches there on 22, 23 and 24. So, really unfortunate finish, and you can see he's not happy with that.
So, it isn't to be there, and another athlete just the wrong side of the margins. And it is still Peter Kauza leading for Slovenia, 87.42, ahead of Ondrej Tunka of the Czech Republic, Martin Srabotnik of Slovenia in 3rd place. Felix Oshmalz, 4th place for Austria. Still an asterisk showing by his name. He's went down the course quite a long time ago. And then in 5th place, Kazuya Adachi of Japan, as we are now in the halfway point of this men's kayak semi-final, live from La Seu d'Urgell in Spain. And here is a contender in the World Cup. Martin Duguid of Switzerland is lying 2nd in the overall standings, and he needs to get into the final to keep his dreams of winning the World Cup title alive.
Yeah, unfortunately, just slipped off the wave after the spin there, and that caused him a lot of trouble getting into the up, so a bit of a time loss at the start. We'll see how he deals with that on the way down.
3 finals from the 4 World Cup competitions, and 2 of them on the podium. Bronze in the first race, and then silver last weekend in Pau. And it looks like he's really making up for that little alignment error at the top. He's still flowing nicely.
Another one opting for the punt. You can see just getting a bit caught up on the wall though, I think, unfortunately. Super tight 15-16, but and he's picked up a touch on the second one and on gate 17 there, so that's really going to prove costly, I think, on this run.
So this looks like a big threat to his World Cup overall title aspirations. Martin Duguid has picked up penalties on the course, and well, if he doesn't make the final, he leaves it wide open, and you don't leave anything like Peter Kauza, Jiri Preskovic, Vit Prindis. They're not going to be charitable.
No, certainly not. They're looking for gold.
They'll be smelling blood, I think, as they come into this race. But Martin Duguid into 8th place, and disappointment for his World Cup aspirations. He's not going to make it through with that result. And, well, it's going to be hard to stop with
points that are on the line here at this final World Cup.
Credit to him, though. Has had an outstanding season. He's really made a mark. He moved up the world ranking, and it's great to see him starting to challenge that world top 5.
That's right.
So now Germany's Noah Heger on course, 6th at the World Championships last year, 2021. Under 23 World Championship finalist last year as well.
All you can see is just clipped the rock there before the spin, but he's done a great job to adapt and deal with that. Super tight in and out of 6. Looking to be nice and dry through sticky fingers. Good jump, a little bit of a hit, but certainly not a problem. I think that's a good start to his run.
So Noah's made the last 2 finals in the World Cups, in Tarnsen and then in Pau last weekend. Hasn't managed to convert that into a podium performance, but it shows that he's very capable of delivering, and keeping the balance of the risk versus reward in this semi-final stage.
That's right. Maintaining the speed through there. You can see a little bit low through 14, but I don't think that's an issue because you can take that speed into a nice exit like he has.
Beautifully done on 15 and 16.
It just cruise through, that's right.
It's funny, isn't it? You can make it look so easy, but then a lot of people have made it look very hard.
That's right, and interestingly, he's still bleeding a little bit of time through that middle section. I thought he did a pretty good job, but just goes to show how good Kauser was through that part. So,
Hege is on track for a top 3, but he's got to deliver this move. It's good. He keeps the boat flat, which is pretty important here.
Certainly is. Not quite as tight as he would have liked to be, I think, in gate 23, and just struggling on the exit, but he's opened up the line now. Just a couple of strokes to go.
Outside the race lead time, but it's a good finish into 4th place for Noah Hege of Germany. It's a clean run, and you can see from his face he's sort of pleased, but he knows he's probably left. He's going to be somewhere around that 10th place, but is it going to be the right side or not?
Yeah, great question. I think we're going to start to see a bit of a cluster around that high 88 or sort of mid 88 sort of time, so it's going to be tough.
So on course now, Lucien Delfour for Australia, 33-year-old Olympic finalist, and he's a multiple World Cup medalist, but he really hasn't fired this year.
No, he hasn't, but he's done well on this course in the past. Really nice through the first S gate. He loves to be very tight, so often leaving the judges with some tough decisions to make. But he's done a great job through there, and I think this is going to be quite a fast top section.
It's interesting you say that, Callum, because my take on him is I think he's changed his style. I think he is a little bit less risky compared to what he used to be, but he's up on the top. Because you're right, he used to just almost ask the question on every gate for the judges to make the decision. He's gone a little bit safer, and maybe that has been a little bit linked to his more consistent performance, but outside of the final.
Yeah, perhaps you're right there, Andy, but he's I tell you what he has done is a great job through the middle section there. Really nice on the double up, and you can see just 0.15 down on the split, so certainly nothing to worry about. He's really set that gate 20 up nicely and capitalised on the exit, so one more move to go on the bottom drop here.
Well, it'd be great to see him in the final. 13th is his best performance so far this season in the World Cup, and he is very capable of getting onto the podium on his day. Tucks out from 23 in tight. He's cutting the lines at the bottom, and this is going to be a good time. Will it challenge the race lead time? It does, and into the race lead for Lucien Delfour. Another person, though, he's not happy.
That's right, yeah, wow. I mean, looked like a good run to me, so we'll have to wait and see, I guess, but perhaps they know something we don't.
Well done, Lucien. You are our race leader. There is still a review going on somewhere on the course for him, but he is the race leader ahead of Peter Kauser of Slovenia, Ondrej Tunka of the Czech Republic. That is our top 3. So Jakub Brzezinski now goes for Poland. Under 23 World and European Championship finalist. He made the final in the first race of the season in Prague.
He's certainly another really talented athlete, one of the sort of newer member of the Polish team. Really good job through there on the top and through the spin, coming down sticky fingers, and quite a nice dry line there, I'd say.
Yeah, it's very difficult, isn't it, to get that really nice line through there, because the water just kicks you in an unpredictable way, either left or right, which doesn't help with your planning.
That's right, that's right. You can see 0.33 up on the split, so it's been a really good top, actually. Let's see if he can hold on to that advantage as we get through this tricky middle section.
Yeah, particularly as Delfour was up as well on the top section. So if he can do something in the middle, which it looks like he's doing now. This is the critical section. It's got to be clean through 15 and 16. He's a bit wayward. How did he hold that together?
Yeah, you could see he was a little bit late, but he did an incredible job to stay off the poles and get his head through those gates. So great show there.
So coming into gate 20, super tight line, and well, I think he's okay with that. His boat was in the gate at the same time as his head, but he's really cutting the lines.
He certainly is, my word. Right, into the last spin. Nicely done. Just losing the bow, unfortunately, under the water there. So a little bit low, but the boat's still moving. It's going to be tough to get into those top few with that boat. Oh, and he's just clipped the last gate with his paddle. That is an unfortunate touch.
I'd be gutted with that when it drops to 9th place, because that was a really good run. He had such high risk going all the way down, and then in the end it was quite an easy gate 25 that he just takes a touch on the top blade and into 9th place.
Yeah, really tough finish there, but I mean, still a respectable performance, I think, and lots of sort of good base to work on for next year.
So Delfour still leading for Australia, although he's still having his penalties reviewed. Peter Kauser is second for Slovenia. Ondrej Tunka third for the Czech Republic, as we watch Boris Neveu of France, who has been really solid all season.
Well, he's just cleaned out gate 3 there, I think. Didn't quite see, I think it might have been his bow, so unfortunate start. Really tight on the spin. Nicely into 6th though, in and out. Whoa, and he's got some blood on his elbow by the looks, or is that just strapping tape? His right elbow there.
I'll have to have a look at that when he comes past us. If he problem is, it's
strapping tape. Oh, jeepers. So yeah, a bit down on the top with that touch, unfortunately, but raw time is in touch.
So double world champion and a bronze medalist at this year's World Championships, but another penalty on gate 13 now picked up. He was on the podium last weekend in Po, and you can always rely on him to be there or thereabouts. A very consistent performer, but today it's not going to be.
No, just those penalties are going to be proving costly, and I think you can see there he's lost the motivation. He's realised this run's got away from him, and his heart's just not in it anymore.
And if you look at his season, actually, it's been particularly the World Championships and the World Cup last weekend, it's been highlighted by the fact he sneaks into the semi-final, into the final in about 9th or 10th, and then he delivers in the final. But today he's not going to get that second chance, and we say goodbye to Boris Neveu, but I'm sure he'll be racing in the extreme tomorrow. And well, he was on the podium. In fact, he took gold last weekend in the extreme competition. So 21st place for the double world champion of France, and well, he'll have a bit of reflection time before he goes and refocuses on the extreme kayak competition. Delfour still leading for Australia, 87.23, as we're starting to get towards the confirmation of who will be our finalists. Giovanni De Gennaro goes for Italy, who you'd expect to be competitive on here.
You certainly would. He's the form man, certainly knows how to pedal well, opting for the later spin below the rock, does it nicely, across the wave, round the upstream, and down he goes.
7th in the overall standings after 4 races, so still in the mix to move up the order with the double points up for grabs, particularly as the likes of Martin Duguid is already out of the final. He's been on the podium a couple of times this season, including the World Championships, and look at that, half a second up on the top.
Yeah, and you can just see he looks like maybe he's being a little bit more patient than some of the other guys we've seen, just allowing the boat to settle before he makes his move, and I think it's really paying dividends here. You can see he's in good positions, executing moves a bit late there, but he's done a great job holding it tight through 15, 16.
So that is the critical section. He can take a little breath, but look at that. He's found time, 1.35, and now he's good on the S.
Yep, certainly not taking that overly tight line that we've seen before. He knows that he needs to be in good positions. Really nice on the spin, in and out. Just a bit stuck on the way across, but not a problem. You can see once again maintaining the composure. Looking for the last couple gates now. All right, so now we'll be winding up.
Wow, this is going to be a fast time. De Gennaro of Italy is surely going to take the first place, and he does by a big margin, 2.44, 84.79. Well done, Giovanni. I don't think we need to wait. You're in the final.
Yeah, I think you might be right there. And if he's not, I tell you what, it's going to be an incredible end to the semi-final.
You're right there, and you saw his coach, Paolo Ferrazzi, himself a gold medalist at the Olympic Games here 30 years ago, celebrating that. He knows that was enough.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right there.
So still Lucien Delfour in second place for Australia, Peter Kauser in third for Slovenia, and Ondrej Tunka fourth for the Czech Republic, as we watch Gelindo Chiarello of Switzerland now going for his place in the final. Now, he's been a solid performer through the World Cup season. He made the final last weekend in Po, and consistently just outside the final in the other races.
Yeah, he's had some really good form in the last few years, but just unfortunately caught up a few years ago with injury, dislocated his shoulder, I believe. So good to see him come back from that, looking strong and showing some good form this season.
11th in the overall standings of the World Cup, so again a final would really move him up the order with the double points here in this 5-race series. But the job is to get into the final, and that's not straightforward.
No, that's absolutely right. He's done a great job through there on gate 13, taking a bit of space on 14, which I think we've seen work well. Really early on 15, really tight on 16, but I think he's got through there nicely.
Well, it must be a bit of a relief as you come through, particularly as there's a little bit of a momentary pause. Well, not so much of a pause, but it's less technical. There's an opportunity just to gather your thoughts as you run into 20.
That's right. You can see just 2 seconds down on the split, which is certainly not a problem given Giovanni's time, although that touch on the spin there is going to prove costly, I think.
So he's still on a good run here, but yeah, as you say, Callum, then that's not what you need at the bottom of the course. Into 6th place. And, well, that's significant, because without that, then he'd be right in the mix for a place in the final.
Absolutely, that would have been a 3rd place, I believe, that would have put him in, right next to Delfour. So, really good raw time there from him. Just have to wait and see whether that's enough, although I think it's going to be hard.
So, De Gennaro leading for Italy, ahead of Delfour for Australia, who's now on a confirmed result, and Peter Kauser for Slovenia. And we're getting into Wards. We have 13 boats to go, and on course now, Noel Hendrick for Ireland.
Really tight on 2 there. He sort of was trying to take that nice straight line and just not sure he got enough height. So anyway, still composed through the spin, looking good, in and out of the upstream, beautifully done. He opted to skip the last World Cup in Po, just had some things to organise and spend a little bit more time here, and he's been looking really good in training, so let's see what he's got.
So there is a review going on the gate 2 for Noel Hendrick, but he will just be focused on the gates still to come as he takes a touch on the bow on gate 9. No doubt about that touch, unfortunately, as he comes into this middle section, double upstream 13 and 14.
You can see just getting a bit out of shape, unfortunately, I think. Lost the rhythm a little bit. Oh, and you can see again there on the cross, just not quite using the water the way he wants to.
It's his 3rd semi-final of this season. Finished 20th at the World Championship, so he's going in the right direction. And it looks like the final's slipping away from him here this morning.
Yeah, really unfortunate, but carrying on to the bottom, which is good to see. Again, really tight, again caught on the edge.
So hard, that gate 20, isn't it? You desperately want to go in all guns blazing, but you make it really high risk. And another penalty on 22 and 23. So Noel Hendrick of Ireland is not going to progress through into the final, and the Irish have quite a good record here on this course. They like it even from the days of Ian Wiley. Used to always deliver the goods. Owen Reinish in the men's kayak. He's here coaching actually the Irish team now. He won a World Cup here quite a few years ago.
Yeah, so a really shame there to see Noel not quite able to show his form, because he's been doing some incredible paddling, but I'm sure we'll see him again next year with some quality performances.
So 12 boats to go in this men's kayak semi-final. And, well, Peter Kauser, who's lying in 3rd place for Slovenia, looked really disappointed when he crossed the line. I think he's looking probably a bit more confident that he's going to make it through into the final.
Yeah, that's right. Although we still do have some big names to go, but I agree, I think his time is going to be enough for that final for sure.
So Marlo Kemeneur of France on course now, 12th at the World Championships. And you'd say very much capable of getting into the final. He's had a 4th place in the 2nd World Cup of the season, and the other 2 World Cups he's just been the wrong side of the line, so consistently performing in this World Cup.
That's right, and the French are certainly no stranger to this course. They used to do, well, they still do a lot of crossover there, heading back and forward over the Pyrenees, so he'll know how to go on this course, how to work well, and you can see so far the boat's moving well beautifully through the double up.
Silky smooth on there, and he makes 15, 16 look easy.
That's right, really early, just cruised through.
So now into this upstream gate 20. He's going to take the tight line. Can he do it? And yeah, look at that, he's patient, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, really nicely done. I think that's a crucial word here today, is patient, just waiting for the boat to be in the right spot, not getting too eager, and good job on the spin.
So the time is telling us that he is down on the split, but he's in touch with a place in the final, and that is the job to be done on this run.
That's right, just the last few strokes to the finish. What's it going to be? 88.26, so good enough for 5th.
5th place, and well, he's going to have a bit of a wait to see whether that's enough, but I think that will be very close. And well, let's hope for him that it's the right side of the line. So only the top 10 will progress through into the final.
That's right, it's going to be tough. I'm predicting now the final cut-off is going to be a low 88, around his time, perhaps slightly under, about 88 flat, perhaps.
Well, here we have Maialen Chourraut of Poland, who is no stranger to World Cup finals. This season, he's not quite made it. He made it 11th place. That's his best so far in Krakow, the second World Cup of the season. Lovely
Spin on the top. I'm actually a big fan of his style and the way he pedals that boat. So great job he's done there. Nice and smooth through sticky fingers. So good start to this run.
Now coming down through in this, well, the Polish as well, you'd say, are probably quite familiar with the shallow nature of Laseu, because where they train in Krakow, it's pretty shallow, isn't it? And they have quite a shallow paddling style as a result.
Yeah, that's right. I don't think that's going to be a problem for them here. Pacierpnik now really nice across the wave, opting for the punt, getting a bit stuck. This is going to be a little bit tricky from where, and you can see just couldn't get the boat back in time, so having to paddle back for that gate 16.
Oh, so did the hard work on 14 nicely. It was a bit full stretch on the punt from the exit, and yeah, never quite got the line to 15. So he won't be penalised by the judges, but he is penalised heavily on the clock.
Yeah, you can see he's lost 7 or 8 seconds there, and unfortunately it looks like he's just picked up a touch on gate 20 as well, so unfortunately not the run that he was looking for today, I imagine.
So that's not good news for the Polish team as we now get towards the top 10. We will then start to confirm who will progress through into the final, and another penalty on the last gate. And Maialen Chourraut of Poland already outside the top 10 in 16th place with 10 boats to go. So with 10 boats to go, it is Giovanni De Gennaro of Italy leading the way ahead of Lucien Delfour of Australia, Peter Kauser of Slovenia, Ondrej Tunka of the Czech Republic, and well, certainly De Gennaro, Kauser and Tunka key players in the overall standings. But let's look at the top of the course. Finn Butcher for New Zealand, who had a great weekend in Po last weekend.
Yeah, he certainly did. Finn has got some incredible form at the moment. He's been paddling really well, really controlled, comfortable on the poles. His first World Cup final last weekend, and he did a great job in it, and just 0.05 off the podium. So he'll be looking for another performance like that this weekend, I think.
Yeah, that 4th place will have given him a real boost. I spoke to him briefly last night, and yeah, he seemed pretty happy and equally pretty comfortable coming into this competition. He's had good experience of racing on here, and since the course was built 30 years ago, the Spanish have hosted a major competition, at least one every year since then. So it's either been World Cup, World Championships, it's done that on 3 occasions, or European Championships.
Yeah, and Finn, unfortunately, just looking a bit off through that top part, struggling through that stagger, so I think he got through there all right. He'll be looking to just stay composed and keep this run together.
Gate 15 was very tight indeed, but I think you're right, he's kept the judges happy, or there is a review on it. But so far, there is no penalty showing. I think that's the key. But yeah, he's lost more time on 20.
Really unfortunate there. Just didn't quite get the height enough. Bit stuck on the spin. Heading across, last up.
It's so easy, isn't it? You just lose a little bit of your rhythm, and then it just all starts to slip away. The clock is ticking, and you don't seem to be finding the groove. 93.26. And outside of the final, unfortunately, for Finn Butcher. And, well, he was 4th last weekend, and he's going in the right direction, but he'll have to watch the final from the bank.
Yeah, that's right. Really great season from him. He's had a great World Cup season, so he'll be again in the extreme this afternoon and probably tomorrow, so it's not over yet this weekend.
So race leader with 9 to go, Giovanni De Gennaro of Italy is confirmed as our first qualifier. As next up on course, it's Xin Quan of the People's Republic of China, who had that great performance in the World Championship, making the final, finished 7th there. And equally, last weekend, he was 6th in the final.
Yeah, unfortunately that he's picked up a touch on gate 5 there. He looked like he was in a great spot for the spin, and just obviously got his paddle caught up really nicely through those couple of gates, and off to a decent start without that touch, I'd say.
He's certainly been setting the pace consistently since the World Championships. took a little bit of time to get going earlier on in the season. 39th, 25th and 28th in the World Cup. Then he was 6th last weekend in Pau, and look at that. That's his style.
Yeah, beautiful sweep ups through there, really nicely through 15, 16. That might be the best we've seen so far, I think. So I'm sure he's clawed back a little bit of time through that section.
So he's now, what's he going to do on gate 20? He's going to go tight, he's patient, and he gets it.
Really nicely done there too. Coming down now to the last drop for the spin, opting in high, nice on the front, waiting beautifully across. Oh, and just a bit early into the upstream though, unfortunately. And like we said earlier, when you're not in the right spot and that up, it really punishes you. It's so strong, the water there.
Well, it's harsh because he was almost too good on 22, and then he's lost the time. Oh, and another touch. So easy. We've seen that a few times. The touch the last gate, and suddenly Xinquan of the People's Republic, who looked in touch with a place in the final, is outside and only down in 16th place. So that means Lucien Delfour of Australia, well done, you're into the final. That's his first final for a while. Good to see what he can do.
That's right, next waiting, Peter Kauser. I think, like you said before, he should be safely through, but we'll have to wait and see.
Well, here is Manuel Ochoa putting his clothes on, setting off on his run. There he is for the Spanish team. And a young 24-year-old who is yet to make a final in the World Cup. But if he shows some of his raw pace and delivers it, he could do it here in his home course. But that's not the start he wanted on gate 6.
No, just a bit off on the spin, and then unfortunately a bit low in the up. So knows this course like the back of his hand, but unfortunately hasn't quite managed to pin down a good start.
3.5 down the top, and that's very hard to make that kind of time up on the bottom. But he is a local, so he might be able to do something special, and he's certainly throwing caution to the wind on the middle section.
Yeah, that's right, really tight on those couple of ups. He has got a bit of height for the exit, managed to get the bow down, which I think is crucial. Oh, but picked up a touch on that gate 16.
So all that hard work in gate 13 and 14 just went to nothing with the penalty on 16. And now 7 seconds down, so it's bad news for Spain, but it's good news for Peter Kauser of Slovenia, who lined 4th in the overall World Cup standings. Surely he's going to be in the final, and he will be threatening to challenge that top 3 in the overall standings.
Yeah, lovely spin though by Manu. Just getting a bit stuck on the bottom there, so finishing off the run nonetheless. Working hard, you can see teeth grit.
So he's given it his all, but the disappointment is clear there. Into 15th place for Manuel Ochoa. And well, his strong performance in the heats not quite able to be repeated. And that does mean that Peter Kauser is into the final. Well done. And well, it's shaping up to be a good final, and the World Cup standings overall still all to play for.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Next up, Joe Clark. This man, again, no stranger to finals or tricky courses, so we'll see what he's got.
Yeah, he's taken the silver medal in the second World Cup of the season. At the moment, lying 12th overall, not had the consistency of performance in the World Cup standings that he would have liked. He was 4th at the European Championships. He finished 16th at the World Championships. And he's up by quite a margin on the top section.
Yeah, I think that's the Joe Clark Classic. Really knows how to make time, especially on the top of the course. So really nice through that gate 13 as well. Beautiful through 14.
Showing really good awareness actually on the bows for the pole now. Keeping it calm through 15 and 16. That's where this season, his World Cup, he's had the pace all the way through. He's just been unlucky on the, well, you make your own luck to some extent, but he's had some big decisions that have gone the wrong way. And, well, 0.72 down now, but he's still in the mix for place in the final. And now, good spin on 22. Wasn't the best positioning, was it? But he's done the job.
That's right, in and out of that last upstream, pushing to the last couple of gates. Arms are burning. What's it going to be?
84.79 to beat. He's outside that time, but is it enough? Into second place. And Joe Clark is into the final for Great Britain. So well done. So De Gennaro leading still. Then Clark for Great Britain, Delfour for Australia, Kauser for Slovenia with 6 boats still to go. So Ondrej Tunka, the early leader for the Czech Republic, lying on the bubble, so to speak, as we saw there. Chris Bowers and Ryan Wesley cheering on Joe Clark there. They'll be pleased with that result. Now, Super Mario Leitner goes for Austria.
That's right, nicely into the S. Nice and smooth through there, so good start. Coming into the spin, we'll see if he goes for the high or the low option. Going for the slightly later spin there. Oh, he's a bit tight, but he's managed to stay on the wave and get nicely into the upstream, so I don't think that's a problem at all.
It looked a really good top section, didn't it? He's lying 6th in the overall standings, so if he can make it into the final, then he, with those double points, could well challenge for the top 3. He's had 2 finals so far out of the 4 races, and he's in touch. Remember, that was De Gennaro's time, our race leader, so there is still some time in the top. Joe Clark showed that there's another second in there, but it's all about delivery all the way down the course.
That's right. Done a great job through the double up. You can see just made a bit of height, getting the boat turned early. Nice and comfortable through 15. Really well done there.
Yeah, these later boats are really showing us that, yes, it is hard, but if you keep it cool and don't rush that move, you can deliver it.
That's right. Nicely done through there as well. You can see just making sure he does enough to get the boat up through gate 20. Coming into the last drop, in for the spin. Oh, a bit sticky, but getting across nicely. Into the last up, really high there. Straight in and out.
So just an update, there is a review going on for Mario Leitner as he comes through the last gate on gate 15. And Joe Clark, who is lying 2nd at the moment, is still a provisional result. There is a review going on, I don't know which gate, but there. Mario Leitner into 7th place. And, well, that puts him in with a shout of a place in the final.
It certainly does. He looked happy with his run, which I think is great. Now he just has to play the game and wait and see.
So Ondrej Tunka joins the other finalists in the final. 12 o'clock Central European time will be live here at Planet Canoe with the women's kayak final, immediately followed by the men's kayak final. As we watch Stefan Hengst for Germany going down the course. He was 5th in the heats yesterday, World Championship finalist in 2021, and made the final in the first World Cup of the season, finished 9th there.
Once again, really nicely done on the spin. You can see a lot of these guys are doing a good job to get across the wave into gate 6 high. Nice through sticky fingers. Once again, looking quite nice and composed and just being patient, waiting for those good stroke times. Yeah,
Stefan Hengst, very strong paddler who made his name really in the early stages of extreme kayaking, but has very much brought that in canoe slalom as well. And into the upstream 13. Now this is where we've seen the time won and lost. Using the wall on the exit, it's a good line. Can he get his bows down?
Just ducking under 15 there and under 16 looked like a good line to me. Great job through the middle, so I wonder if how he's going to be looking on this next split.
Well, he's in touch with a place in the final, but he can't afford to let that deficit slip anymore. As we just update, Mario Leitner was still waiting for the review to complete on gate 15. Joe Clark, no change.
In a really good spot for the spin, but just clipping the outside pole there, so very unfortunate. He needs to be within about 3.5 seconds to book himself a place in the final straight away.
So he's going to be pulling hard, using every ounce of his strength into 5th place.
There is a touch missing there. There we go, it's been put on now.
You're right. Good spot, and that makes the difference and takes him to 10th. That just shows the margins here. So that one touch makes 5 places difference, and surely that won't be enough to make it through into the final, unfortunately, for the young German. So that is good news, though, for Marlon Kemeneur of France, because he is the next to qualify. So De Gennaro from Italy, Clark Great Britain, Delfour of Australia, Kauser for Slovenia, Tunka for the Czech Republic, Kemeneur of France are our qualifiers so far. 4 boats to go, and here is the reigning World Cup champion of 2021. And of course the world champion from Augsburg. Vit Prindish for the Czech Republic has got to get into the final to keep his dreams of defending his World Cup title alive.
That's right, he's done a great job on the top. Nice and comfortable through all those gates. Coming down now to the first split time.
So he's lying in 3rd overall in the standings, and whilst he's a little bit distant from the top, it can all change depending on who qualifies through into the final. And Prigent always very smooth, isn't he?
He certainly is, that's right, and always very controlled, knows how to pedal through a hard course, done a great job there, opting for the conventional up on the draw really early on the turn. Very nicely done through 15-16. Once again, just making things look comfortable.
And he won here last year at the World Cup in 2021. And that helped him to win the overall World Cup title. Very smooth through gate 20.
Just 1 second down on the split, which is certainly not a problem at this stage of the competition. Nice spin, really controlled. Into gate 23. Once again, just taking the time to make sure he's doing everything right. Good positions on the poles. Well, oh, he's picked up a touch on that gate 23 though, so I'll have to eat my words there.
Yeah, it was interesting, wasn't it? I didn't see it, it was on the exit, but still, ooh, 9th place. So that is a big drama, isn't it? And it shows the margins, just the one touch, and he is under threat. The reigning World Cup champion could be going out at this stage, and if that's the case, he won't stay in the top 3.
No, that's right. That's right. Big upset there. We'll just look and see if we can see where that touch was.
So he's clean through here. Well, we'll have to wait and see, is it? I still didn't see it.
No, me neither. So we'll have to see. He's got a star, so they must be reviewing that.
Well, we'll have to wait and see, but here is another big name, Miguel Trave of Spain, 22-year-old who is a really young up-and-coming talent in the kayak and the canoe events. And this, of course, home course, so we can expect him to do some big things.
That's right, he's found some amazing form this year in both classes, showing some dominance, and certainly he'll be looking for a place in this final.
He was under 23 European Championship silver medalist this year, just a few weeks ago, and look at that. Not a lot to choose between him and race leader De Gennaro of Italy at this stage of the competition.
That's right. And you can see there just taking a little bit more of a conservative line, running the speed around gate 14 so he can have a nice exit, and once again making that 15-16 look easy.
So now coming down towards the second split. Has he extended the advantage? Well, he has now just trailed a little bit, but remember, this is about qualifying through, then racing it out for the big points in the final. And Trave just has this big jump into 22 between him, and he's done that well.
He certainly has, that's right. Into the last upstream now, keeping the boat moving, pulling hard for the last couple of gates. I think this is going to be enough for the final.
Well, here he comes now, crosses the line, and into second place, Miguel Trave of Spain. Well done. The Spanish team have someone in the final. Now, just as an update on the results, Vit Brindis has had that penalty reviewed, but it does stand on 23. He's in 9th place, so something else has changed, and I'm just trying to... Oh, it's Mario Leitner has had a penalty added to his time on gate 15, so that's the change, and it is. Now, let's have a look. Martin Srabotnik of Slovenia, who is our next finalist qualifier. 2 boats to go, and on course now, Juan Crespo for Spain. 2-time bronze medalist at the World Championships, and you've got to say a SEO specialist here. Absolutely, and I believe this is going to be Juan's last race, so he'll certainly be looking for a place in the final. We'll have to see if he can do it. So Spain already have 1 boat in the final. Can they make it 2? Nice through the top section, you can see in touch with the split, just half a second, which is certainly no problem at this stage. So now coming down into this middle section. Double upstream gate 13 and 14, and then this 15-16 move, which is very tricky, but remember, we're watching the best in the world and they make it look easy. That's right. We're just a bit caught up there on 15-16. Wow, where did that gate bounce? I think that bounced the wrong side of his head, and well, if he is going to retire, then unfortunately it's not going to be the way he would want to. He's going to miss the final here on his home course. Oh, such a shame. Such a shame. Such a good athlete and knows the course, like you say, so well. So, wow, really going for the wild spin there. Unfortunately, cleaning out that gate too. So, well, Spain will have a representative in the final, but it's going to be Miguel Trave, and another little error on the final gate. And Juan Crespo of Spain, the 2-time World Championship bronze medalist, has to settle there for a place outside of the final with one boat to go. So bad news for Spain, but that's good news for Viktoriia Prigent of the Czech Republic, who is in the mix for taking the World Cup title overall, but he had to make it into the final, and he did it the hard way.
That's right. I mean, now there's one spot left. Is it going to be Galindo Ciarello or this man, Jiri Preskovic, who certainly knows how to race? I mean, if I were a betting man, I think you know where that's going.
I would agree. Well, he's made all the finals in 2022. He hasn't maybe made the podium at every occasion like you would expect, but he is a double world champion. He's the reigning Olympic champion, and well, already he's showing his mark on this course. So he's leading the World Cup standings by quite a margin going into this race, but with double points up for grabs, he's by no means secure, and the job firstly is to make sure he's in the final.
That's right. Nice on the top, just 0.15 down, not a problem at all. As you'd expect, really tight in and out of 13, opting for the line above the wave there through to 14. And again, across the other way, he's going for the high line. So that's the first time we've seen that, and it's worked out well for him. He's made that 15-16 look easy. He
has indeed, and this is looking like another strong performance from Preskovic, who of course won his second world title on this course in 2019, and he's not the fastest, but he's still very comfortably inside. But we know it only takes a touch at the bottom and you can be under threat. But how confident was he on 22?
Yeah, it's just amazing. He comes down, different plan to basically anyone else we've seen, and then crushes it. So once again, cruising down to the finish line and books himself a place in the final.
Doesn't even bother sprinting to the finish. It's like, no, I've done enough. Well done, Jiri, who is the World Cup leader. He is in the final, and well, surely now the favourite to take the overall title.
Yep, you would think so, wouldn't you?
It's we saw it in the women's kayak. You had to get in the final to keep things alive with the double points, and well, the key players in the final, apart from Martin Duguid, unfortunately, he is in 20th place for Switzerland, so he'll drop down the order, but the likes of Kauser and Preskovic and Prigent will race it out in that final for the overall 2022 ICF World Cup title. Well, what a competition we've had here, and here are the finalists, the top 10 boats. Giovanni De Gennaro will go last for Italy, and well, he's still in the mix for a top 3 finish overall, because he's lying 7th overall at the moment. Spain's Miguel Trave there. We've got Preskovic, we've got Clark, we've got some big names, but also big names missing out as well. Yeah, Martin Duguid of Switzerland, who has come right back into the mix in World Cup 4, misses out. And then you've got Felix Osmaus, again, just failing to make a final in the World Cup when he's been so strong in some of the other competitions.
That's right, and you can see just how tough this course is by, you know, the bottom 12 athletes in that semi-final all having 50-second penalties.
So this men's kayak semi-final has been exciting, and it has set up the conclusion of the World Cup season. But that is only going to be determined in that 10-boat World Cup final, and all up for grabs. So you can join the men's kayak final 12 o'clock Central European time today. So just over 30 minutes time we'll get underway with the women's kayak final and then the men's kayak final. Your reflections on that men's kayak semi-final, Callum?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough course out there. We saw some upsets, I mean, some ups and downs like you'd expect, but I think it's going to be an exciting final, especially with, like you say, with the double points for the World Cup overall on the line.
Well, and once again, you end up with the big three, don't you? Kauser, Preskovic and Prigent fighting it out to see who takes the honours, and well, one to look forward to. So join us live then. Good to see Joe Clark in the mix for Great Britain. Australia's Lucien Delfour getting his first final for a while, actually. So it'll be interesting to see what he can deliver. And of course, Spain's Miguel Trave is one of those paddlers that if he finds the groove, he could threaten that top spot.
He certainly could. I mean, 85-second run in the semi-final, the second fastest we've seen so far, so it's absolutely right.
Well, that wraps up the action, so thank you, Callum Gilbert, for joining me in the commentary booth. Myself, Andy Maddock, it's goodbye for now, and we'll see you at 12 o'clock Central European time for the men's and the women's finals here in La Seu. Bye for now.